Want to kick? Right, turn around. Which way? This way. Fort Valley has won the toss. That's the first to the second half. Tuskegee will receive. Good luck, gentlemen.
Off their seasons on this opening weekend of September. Happy to have you with us and happy to have this matchup on ESPNU once again this year. Charles Arbuckle, Jason Ross Jr. Charles, again, so cool to be here. Such an amazing setting, ton of history, rich history between both Fort Valley State and Tuskegee. Playing again this year, Fort Valley's won the last two. Tuskegee's the all-time winningest HBCU program, but this feels like we have a good one on paper.
It really looks like it, and you think Aaron James coming in with his record of 42-5, you know, Coach Gibbs also saying, hey, look, we have had it the last 2 years. I think there's going to be a lot of things going on today. I'm looking forward to it.
There definitely will be. Let's take a peek at that series history that we talked about. Again, Fort Valley State has won the last two by a combined 51-6, but both of these teams have legitimate conference championship aspirations, and there's a ton of talent on the field between both sides that we're excited to talk about today in this matchup, honoring the Tuskegee Airmen who fought in World War II. Speaking of talent, let's talk about Kelvin Durham, the QB for Fort Valley State. He's the preseason SAIAC Offensive Player of the Year.
Make plays. He also can run the option well. Last year, they ran the football effectively, but he was also able to throw the football down the field, and he can use his legs. You've got to account for both. And if they don't do that today, Tuskegee's defense will have a long day defending this young man.
Charles, the guy trying to slow him down on the opposite side is the linebacker, Vincent Hill for Tuskegee.
Yeah, whenever you have a linebacker that wears number 1, you know he's going to play all over the field. He is a guy that said we have to be fast, we have to be physical, and the one thing that he wants to also do is improve everywhere on this defense. Let's see if they're able to do it from the offseason.
He's a baller, and that number 1 represents it. We should have a fun one today. Both teams kicking off their seasons. Fort Valley won the toss, opted to defer, so Tuskegee will receive, and Fort Valley will kick off. For Fort Valley, Daniel Gibbs is set to kick things off. For Tuskegee, it'll be Mikhail King back to return. Two programs, a lot of pride, a lot of history. Both fan bases have really showed out, and off we go to open up week 1. Crease up the middle and a big hit to open things up right off the bat. DeMarcus Harris Sr. laying the wood, the senior, upperclassman.
Hey, man, he got me ready. Hey, if you're going to run down on the kickoff team, this is how you do it. Physicality, no head in there, no crown, but making a play right off the bat. Those are the kind of things you love to see in the game early in the season because you haven't had any live competition like this. And Harris was like, hey, I'm going to make my name known.
He did it in the opening seconds of the matchup. Again, you can feel it right away how much both of these teams won this game. Fort Valley State's won the last two. Bryson Williams quarterbacking Tuskegee is hoping to turn that around. The pitch to begin things, another big hit right on the sidelines. The wood was laid.
Yeah, helmets flying. You see stuff coming off helmets. I mean, that's the kind of thing you're going to anticipate all game long.
Malik Hart, the linebacker from Orlando, came over to make the play.
Some Floridians on this team, and he was one of the ones they talked about. Kentrell Lawson is a key playmaker for him in the middle, but number 24, we'll see his name called quite a bit today as well.
And those two have a really good rapport, and it's a strong defensive line for Fort Valley State that they feel confident about. And you see why early on here. Ball did come out. It sounded like there were whistles before.
Ruling on the field, he was down. Third down. Ruling on the field, he was down. Third down.
They call their defense the Blue Death defense, and they like to play Blue Death football with physicality and fundamentals. But watch here, guys rallying to the football. You always have one holding up, another one trying to come in. You can see the capabilities there of these guys all rallying around the football.
Kerryon Taylor was the ball carrier. One of a few different backs that we'll see today for Tuskegee. They've got 4 returning starters on the offensive line for Tuskegee, only 3 of them playing today. have their hands full with that defensive line of Fort Valley State. First third down of the game for Bryson Williams. Has time, might use his legs here. Won't get enough for the first down. Brought down promptly by a Fort Valley defense that's running around early here. Jaden Walker was leading the way.
Yeah, Jaden Walker, Kentrell Lawson. Normally when you watch this team, you're going to see them come with 2, 3, 4 guys, and they really want to rally to the football. That's the thing you want to see early in the year if you're Fort Valley State. 3 and out, making them punt right away so you can get your offense on the field.
Dewan Bell back to return this punt for Fort Valley State. Opts to take it from the 40. Dragged down right there. Fort Valley team that went 8-2 a season ago. For their head coach, Sean Gibbs, it was a season that meant a lot to the fan base as well, getting back to their winning ways. They won this game again last year. Finished second in the SIAC East Division behind Benedict. No divisions this year in the SIAC. Benedict ended up winning the conference championship against Tuskegee. Tuskegee, a program that went 8-3 a year ago, literally flipping the script as you see Kelvin Durham walking out for the first time. Highlighted him in our open preseason conference offensive player of the year. He says, I appreciate that, but I'm not thinking about it. It's a business-like mindset for Kelvin Durham. Hands it off on the first offensive play of the game, and Kentrell Williams shows what Fort Valley did a season ago, Charles, against this Tuskegee team.
The mentality, we talked about it. This defensive line has to show up. And right away, look at the blocking there on the edge. They're getting around the edge. Rio Clater and the tight end, and they're able to run the football. Look at that, cleaning everything up, and then that linebacker has to come over, that safety. Christian Ramsey has to make the tackle early. That's what they didn't do last year. This defense for Tuskegee is going to be challenged. Let's see if they can step up to that challenge.
Rossi Grimes came over to knock him out of bounds, but not before a first down in the opening play of the game, and already some really good field position for Fort Valley. They say we want to run the ball and establish that tone early.
The physicality is already there. 84, Alex Hinton, who they think is going to get more involved, came on the edge and just annihilated the defensive end. They really want to show some physicality, and if you're Tuskegee's defense, you've got to match that. Rashad Watson said we must play better, and we're going to see if that defensive line can hold up against this physical Fort Valley State team.
Rashad Watson is looking for someone to step up on the D-line. First throw of the game for Durham. It's a low throw, looking for Corinthius Edmonds, his top returning target from a season ago. And they're going to say this is caught.
Yeah, he had to go down and dig it out like a second baseman or a shortstop. Protection is there for him. If Durham has that back, he would give it up just a little higher, so it'd be an easier throw and catch between these two. A really nice job by the receiver of going in and digging that. Edmonds and he have really worked well last year and have picked up this year as well.
They bring Fraylin Warren in motion, another one of the top returning receivers for this team, going to the ground to pick up this first down. It's Kentrell Williams again. They're replacing Emmanuel Wilson at that running back spot. Not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. When you've got a guy that can put 262, and that wasn't even his best game. But this running back crew feels like they can hold. And look at the push by the line. Really nice job of a tackle by Malik Moore, but it's after that penetration. You see no penetration defensively by the line, but you see those linebackers flowing in there. Vincent Hill and Moore are going to have a lot to do today, and that defensive front has to get off blocks.
As you mentioned to me yesterday at dinner, those guys are really good at the linebacker spot, but they can't be making tackles 5-6 yards back each time. Durham quickly to the air, quickly back to Corinthius Edmonds, who's knocked out of bounds. Stanley Livingstone, who's stepping up at the cornerback spot today, came over to push him out. But another pretty good chunk to stay ahead of schedule for this Fort Valley State offense.
Yeah, Stanley Livingstone, a transfer out of San Jose State. And you can see here what they want to make sure is they keep in front, right? Keep him in front, because that's a 22.3 yard per catch average guy. You've got to say, no, I can't let you be explosive against me. I have to hold you in check.
We know Tuskegee's going to move fast. Fort Valley State can up the tempo as well. Kelvin Durham's been given more responsibility, more leeway this year in terms of making changes like we might have just seen him made there. On second down, ice crease opens up again thanks to this offensive line that has 2 returning tackles back.
Yeah, and what you just said is key. They move guys around just so that can give him an idea, an identification of the defense. You see right there, they're trying to set that up. But Clater, again, coming around that guard pull or that guard wraparound, 62 being the lead blocker for a big, strong running game.
Brandon Marshall is the back, bounces off a tackler, trying to get through another. Did get enough for the first down.
Yeah, he's got a lot of energy, a guy that's transferred from Mercer. What I'll say to this is you're trying to do everything you can not to give up explosive plays, but look at hat on a hat. You got everybody matched up, and then you need the safety to come down and make a tackle. That's not where you want to be. You want to make sure you're playing downhill football on defense.
Joel Hirsch is the offensive coordinator for Fort Valley State. His QB, Kelvin Durham, who he has a really good rapport with, is on track right now. Really well-balanced offense this season to go. We're seeing that early on in this opening drive.
Nice tackle.
Marshall cut down there.
Lance Watkins, big 55. Oh, excuse me. He came down. Really nice job coming off and just getting rid, shedding the offensive player. Really nice job of just getting in there and making some. You need your defense to penetrate like that. That's a good job there.
They go back to the ground game. They want to get their speed playmakers in space. We're able to do so that time with DeJuan Bell.
Yeah, they might have got. Kentrell Williams might have got away with one there. He was on the edge blocking. Zero out there, and usually the referee is right on. Watch Zero here come to the edge and then reach back. Yeah, he got away with one there. That's early season, but I think the coaches are going to look at that. But really nice job of getting outside. But it was a key block that probably could have been called.
And you don't hear about running backs getting called for holding a lot of them.
Yeah, I'm used to being that tight end where I'm out on the edge and they see me. And you're right. The defender did a nice job of going inside and forced that hold.
Durham opts to keep it here. You see why, showcasing the legs. And Durham's into the end zone. Opening touchdown of the season for Fort Valley State, and they strike first on the 18-yard run.
Hey, Jason, I really thought they had this defender. They had the quarterback accounted for, they had the running back accounted for, but for some reason, Kelvin Durham, long strider, doesn't look like he's getting out there, man, and he just showed that speed and explosiveness.
It was an explosive opening drive. Had some pretty good field position to start it. Daniel Gibbs puts the finishing touches on it. 7-0 start after the 18-yard run from Kelvin Durham.
Durham showing the ability there, just getting down and getting in for 6.
Welcome back to the Boeing Red Tails Classic. 3rd straight year on ESPNU in a game that honors the Tuskegee Airmen who fought in World War II. 2 historic HBCUs, Fort Valley State and Tuskegee, going at it here in Montgomery, Alabama.
I get chills thinking about it because the Red Tails were so instrumental in World War II. The Bombers said, hey, look, we see these guys, they're effective, they're able to escort us and make things happen for us. The 332nd, it's unbelievable to be able to be here and call it and understand the history that's involved in it.
Well, Charles, we talked about it yesterday. They painted the tails of their P-47s red, the Tuskegee Airmen.
And segregated an army that knew the Bombers were saying, hey, these guys, when they come, we get through. We don't have any issues. And you can hear Tony Dungy before the game. Coach Dungy's dad was a Red Tail, a Tuskegee Airman. It's just unbelievable to hear the history there of what they were able to do.
Gibson to kick off. Some more good kick coverage from Fort Valley State. Now their defense that forced a 3-and-out is set to come back out on the field.
They have guys flying down. Those L4, R5, those interior guys are the ones that usually go and wreak some havoc. They used to be called the wedge busters. They kind of took that away, and I'm glad because I still have some concussions from those days.
Devontae Amasani came out to make the play there. Look at Bryson Williams trotting back out for his second series.
The lefty is really going to have to play well and get this offense going. They haven't scored well the last 2 times they've been in this game.
Operating a no-huddle offense quickly. Pressure comes to the backfield, and he is dragged down. Penetration from both sides of the defensive line, wreaking havoc there.
Hey, this was a heck of a play by Bryson Williams of just almost getting back to the line of scrimmage. Free guy coming off the edge, no one there. He knows he's there. Good job of moving, but there's so much pressure coming. Quintel Jones, I mean, he just probably thought he saw 13 guys on defense, but he was able to get by a few and almost made a nice play out of nothing.
Will Riggins came up to finish him off there. As you said, good to just kind of take a yard loss on that point. Tries to use his legs here once again. That defensive line for Fort Valley State showing up. Nice play from Malik Harp.
Yeah, I don't think that was a good read by Bryson there because that outside edge didn't collapse. And all you do is give it here because you have a better chance, right? When he goes outside, look at all those white jerseys to account for him. He thought he had something, but maybe giving it inside to get a couple of yards, you end up losing 4 more yards on that. This defense, man, they fly to the ball. You got to get them off balance.
Throw over the middle. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of his intended target, Antonio Meeks, who is his top returning target from a season ago.
Meeks is a key weapon for him, and you could see there he was really trying to lay out and make a play on that.
DeJuan Bell is back to return, number 17. It's a Tuskegee offense as well that scored some points last year, averaged 27 a game, but off to a rough start so far. DeJuan Bell likes what he sees, trying to cut this back, and the ball came out towards the end of the return. That definitely came out what appeared before his knee was down. So Tuskegee might catch an early break here.
Ruling on the field. Ruling on the field is a fumble and recovery. First down, Tuskegee.
It was recovered by Tuskegee. So they're going to catch a break after Durham fumbles.
Well, he comes back into the teeth of the defense where there's so many guys, and you could see him get hit low right there by the actual punter, I think it was.
Johnny Gilbert pounced on it.
And then Johnny Gilbert was there. Actually, that was a long snapper. Look at Fuentes getting in there and making it happen. I love it.
And they talk about long snappers being the unheralded hero.
That was a
not
big
so
one.
unheralded there.
You need the momentum change, and that was a really good play right there to get them started. That's the first positive really run that they've had.
Chase Sellers on the run there. Don't forget our Monday night college football game, the only matchup on the Labor Day schedule, an all ACC affair between number 9 Clemson and Duke and Durham. That's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN and the app. Coverage begins with College Football Countdown at 7 Eastern. Should be a fun one. Monday night, this long weekend of college football. Having a fun Sunday here. One pump from Wilson before he throws it down the sideline. Was that hauled in? It was. Antonio Meeks with a grab that showcases why he was the conference's leading receiver a season ago.
Averages over 22 yards a catch, but also look at the blocking and then the pump fake, a stutter and go, and able to just get the defensive back turned around.
Defense, number 12, penalty is declined. First down, Tuskegee.
Landon Austin is doing everything he can to make that play, but Antonio Meeks, he knows how to play this game, and that's an attack the defense right there. Almost sudden change offense, which you want to see from Tuskegee.
Well, they're feeding off that turnover momentum now. Hand it off this time.
Chase Sellers
moving the
pass. Jason, you could see and feel the intensity of the offensive line. Even all of those guys, because they have 4 returning starters like you talked about. And the difference now, they have Fort Valley State on their heels. Look at this surge of Crimson guys getting off the ball, and then Chase Sellers, nice cut there and knifing through the defense and then just battling to get more yards.
Behind an O-line, they got off to a rough start today, but again, they're returning 4 starters in this group up front, and they're really loading it up now. Right back to Sellers, trying to plunge his way in, and he does.
One of the things you love about teams is being able to run to the short side of the field with some physicality, and they were able to do that right there.
So Tuskegee showing some fortitude early in this matchup. After a couple of disappointing opening offensive series, you get a turnover sometimes. That's all it takes.
Well, I got a sense that this was going to be a little bit different once they got a chance to get going. They got punched in the mouth, and this time they came fighting back off the ropes.
Lorcan Ryans, the Canadian kicker, able to tie up the game.
You run behind your best players. Right guard, Chancellor Hallman, Hallwell, and Gilbert come off the ball, and then let the young man score like that.
The Boeing Red Tails Classic is brought to you by Boeing, celebrating the trailblazing spirit of the Tuskegee Airmen and the city of Montgomery, capital of dreams.
If you were a Cowboy fan or you knew anything about the Cowboys, or Fort Valley State for that is, Ray Phil Wright, Pro Football Hall of Fame inductee in 2006.
Known as the Big Cat, a Hall of Famer. Take a peek at this last drive.
He would have been proud of that. Look at the running game right there, right? Ability, and then look, you think you have Kelvin Durham, but his ball handling skills have improved, and knowing when to run have been much better. We're gonna see if they can do that again, but you always worry about it if you're the special teams coach of miscues in that part of the game. We saw Fort Valley State with some nice kickoff return tackles, and then that punt return. When you're a punt returner, you're really not taught to turn back into the knife of the defense. 2 or 3 guys converge on you, you give the ball up. Let's see if Fort Valley State can hold on to the football and get this one going.
Some momentum swings early on in this matchup. Been a fun start as Lorcan Ryan is getting set to kick off for Tuskegee. Golden Tigers bounced back. That one kind of dangerously rolled. Maybe a little deja vu there for the Fort Valley fans after they had just fumbled a punt last time we saw in the special teams game.
And the ball is live, so you got to get on it quickly.
It was DeJuan Bell again. You wonder what his head is like right now.
Well, he did a nice job of coming up, but you got to do it quicker. And the ball, to your point, making sure you almost field it like you have to attack the ball. Playing baseball or growing up playing baseball, that's the one thing. If you let the ball come to you, it will beat you up.
I love your baseball background, creeping into this broadcast nice and early. Heard it a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, I think multi-sport athletes really understand. If you play basketball, you use that ability, you use your baseball ability, and you see quarterbacks even now doing a lot of things from a baseball perspective.
Kelvin Durham's dad was a huge basketball fan. Kelvin didn't like basketball too much. They put him in football, and he hasn't looked back since. Meanwhile, Kentrell Williams isn't looking back right now. Gets out to nearly the 40-yard line. That explosive running game picking up where it left off a season ago.
The cut, the ability to cut right there. We talked about Emmanuel Wilson and his ability to run. But Kentrell Williams, man, that was quick. Got in there, look, he pauses the defense, and boom, I'm gone. You're not going to catch me, Malik Moore. You're not going to. You better bring somebody else with you.
Durham under pressure. First time we've really seen him under duress. Now the ball comes out again. Fortuitously wound up in the arms of his offensive lineman, Andrew Dorsey. But it was punched out, nearly a second giveaway.
Well, he's carrying that ball a little loose. And when you're in those defensive line guys, they're going to come up and make you pay, or the linebacker. He wanted to throw the football more. Malik Moore is right there. He's the one that kind of helped knock that ball out. Really good job by Andrew Dorsey. The one thing you want to see from offensive linemen, Jason, is pursue down the field or trail because of things like that. You want to make sure they're there to clean up any mess.
Alex Henson was the tight end in motion. Ball is out again. And right now, Fort Valley's just trying to grasp onto the football. They nearly lost it there for a third time. Again, this game just turned on a fumbled punt. They're backing themselves up now.
They did a really nice job last year of not turning the ball over. They were +8. But again, did he pay attention to the snap? The snap was not a clean snap. It was a little wobbly. He's looking away, trying to get going. Luckily for him, he was able to get it.
And remember, Charles, they're working in a new center this year. They've begun practice each day with working on QB center changes, but this is a little different in the real game.
You do that all the time, but until the live game happens, both of those young men have to get accustomed to each other in this kind of situation.
Cleaner that time, back into the hands of Williams. And this Tuskegee team is pretty happy right now on that sideline.
Yeah, Fort Valley State started so strong, but this momentum seems to be changing. And there's some self-inflicted wounds as well with this team. Right there, you had almost a fumble by Durham, which was recovered by his own guy. A bad snap, miscue there. And then they just started going backwards.
High punt, out of bounds, and it's going to set up Tuskegee with some really good field position. So just a slew of errors here from Fort Valley, starting to turn the tide of this football game. We'll be right back with the Red Tails Bowling Classic. Let's see who's bringing the flavor today. Brought to you by McDonald's. In an awesome atmosphere.
I like that number, 81.
I do like that. That's a good. You like that number for sure. The Tuskegee fans, the Fort Valley State fans. Little 360 cam action there.
Lisa Keys, come on, man, you got it. You got it. Get it in there. Uh-oh, bands, I love it.
Bands are battling before the game. HBCU bands are so cool. That's one of the parts of the rich tradition of HBCUs. Tuskegee is the winningest HBCU football program. Hit 700 wins this season ago. Their head coach, Aaron James, is in his first season and proud of what his team has done over the last couple of series. Set up a screenplay here over on the sideline. Flag came out after the catch was made.
Yeah, they may call the holding on the receiver who had a really nice block. I think it was Meeks. Unless it's a penalty against Fort Valley State. Well, watch 15 on the outside. Just manhandle the defensive back. Yeah, they may get Antonio Meeks.
Holding, offense, number 15, 10-yard penalty, first down.
At some point, you got to let go, but man, he was physical on that play. And Kenyon Webb thought he was targeted, but that was just a good clean hit on the sideline.
The referee Ben Cole for today and his crew. And Kenyon Webb made that catch. Antonio Meeks made a spectacular catch earlier in this quarter. Called for the flag there. It'll set him back. Again, this Tuskegee team went 8-3 a season ago. Made it to the conference championship game after going 3-8 the prior year. Trying to build on that. They've been using the word championship and SIAC around the facility on a daily basis. Backed up to 1st and 17 here, though. They go right back to Kenyon Webb. Same play, different side. It was the Fort Valley defense that got off to such a strong start, the line in particular. They're trying to rotate them in and out quite a bit today with this heat. It's cooling off a little bit, but it's about 85 degrees throughout the course of the day.
Really a good chance to come up with an open field tackle, but Kenyon Webb, look at that nice move and just able to get by Darnell Stevens and pick up nice yardage after losing 10 yards on that penalty earlier.
Williams wants a one-on-one matchup, goes back to that same side. We'll see if this is complete.
The defensive back looked like he may have gotten the interception.
It's a battle for the ball right now.
I can't see the numbers of the guys there, but it was a ball up for grab.
He went to Meeks earlier on that same side. It's Jamal Janvier the defensive back for Fort Valley State, in a wrestling match for whoever has possession right now. And they're still on the ground trying to decide to see which direction.
Rooted on the field is a catch by Tuskegee. First and goal.
So it is an Antonio Meeks catch again on that same side. Second one for his highlight reel today.
And they're going to try to go fast so they don't allow this to be looked at, because
and they want to go fast anyway. Now they want to go ultra speed.
Exactly. Yeah, they're going to look at this. I just knew it, because when you saw it real time.
There's the end of the first quarter.
We'll give the officials an opportunity to review it right now on the field. It's a catch and a 7-7 tie at the end of the first quarter of the Boeing Red Tails Classic. Fort Valley State struck first, then a fumble led to some Tuskegee momentum. We have ourselves a game here in Montgomery at the historic Crampton Bowl. More action coming up on the other side. Welcome back to the Boeing Red Tails Classic. Take another look at that last catch as both teams flip the sides of the field now.
I always say tie goes to the receiver, but I'm going to take that hat off, because right here, Janvier goes up and attacks the ball. He's in a vulnerable position, but look how he gets that right hand in there, and this next replay is going to be even more clear of how he was able to go and get it. Look, he has his hand there touching and then goes attacks the football before Antonio Meeks. If there was replay, this could have been overturned.
Instead, Tuskegee goes back to the ground and gets back into the end zone. Back-to-back possessions with a Tuskegee touchdown, and they're on top for the first time today.
Yeah, I love the fact that Coach James is calling a really nice game and getting his run game involved. But I'm going to give credit to this offensive line, because they have come off the football and shown who they are and what they're made of.
They put the finishing touches on, and Tuskegee has grasped momentum of this third annual Boeing Red Tails Classic. Thought we'd be in for a fun one. Been a great start so far here in Montgomery.
Your first home sees a lot of firsts. From first loves to first steps. And with the Home Depot, you'll find the confidence to create the first place you call your own. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Okay, again, this is a status bar, this is a search bar. Let's know the difference, okay? Social media. It can be overwhelming for a young homeowner turning into their parents.
Now, what does it mean to slide into someone's DMs? Because it sounds like a lot of fun.
Okay, we're not ready for that. As a team, we'll get there. It might be a fruit emoji, but that doesn't mean they're talking about fruit.
Progressive can't save you from becoming your parents, but we can save you money when you bundle home and auto with us.
Okay, do you really think we need 47 photos of fun dinner at Pam's?
Yes.
No.
Welcome back to the Boeing Red Tails Classic. Tuskegee up 14-7, early stages second quarter. Just saw Zena Molbo reach the end zone.
Well, and what you see also, that offensive line getting off the football really well. Chancellor Holloman leading the way, but Zena Molbo was able to get in there and really do a nice job of running up the field and attacking the interior after that good push by the offensive line. There's been a lot of number changes, and he has changed. A lot of those guys have. This is the first game of the season. You see that sometimes, but we're going to give him his due, because he got really small and tight and got through there and got 6.
And a true freshman back who they feel really good about. Fluid runner, good vision, very humble, earned a big role, and just his first collegiate game, as you see Dewan Bell back to return here.
He said he came into camp and just really showed what he could do. 5'10", 200-pound freshman out of Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of those Georgia kids on this ball club. Along with some, it's a good mix of guys that they have with this Tuskegee ball club.
Morgan returning here, gets cut down We do have a flag that goes flying at the 31-yard line.
Generally, that's going to be a hold. The guy gets by you, and you don't want him to go and blow up your returner.
See what the call is here from Ben Cole.
Doing the return. Holding. Return team number 7. 10-yard penalty. First down.
You get out of sorts when you're trying to run down there and make plays. Kickoff team played that a lot of years, and kickoff return as well. It's a thankless job, but when you get your blocks and you got guys going to the house, that's really rewarding.
We've already seen a long snapper make a huge play in the game.
Yeah.
The unheralded guys are stepping up today.
That was a game-defining play, and usually special teams can hurt you, but we've seen special teams help in some instances.
So Kelvin Durham trailing for the first time in this early season. They handed off a ground game that just ran wild a season ago in this matchup that Fort Valley State won. You see some words exchanged after the play on a gritty run full of attitude from Brandon Marshall. 265 on the ground from Emmanuel Wilson a year ago in this game.
Well, and right there, they got back to what was working effectively in that first drive. You got guys coming off the ball and just really doing a nice job of giving him room. You can see again, Alex Hinton has had a lot of good blocks 84 on the outside, and then Stiggers comes across on that guard fold and really able to pick up some things and help him get some nice yardage.
Kelvin Durham dumps it over the middle. Low throw for Fraylin Warren Jr. A guy who he has a connection going back to their days in Miami together. Grew up playing 7-on-7 with one another. Now here's the connection and the chemistry in the game.
Yeah, if he gives it to him a little bit higher, he may have a chance to run with that and make some yak. Ball was a little low. Fraylin does a nice job of going dig it out.
They grew up playing Little League together, 7-on-7.
He's his security blanket. Whenever Kelvin Durham needs someone to go to, look for number 2.
They've got 3 receivers in the set here. Durham pulls it. Throw behind Corinthius Edmonds, the intended target.
Again, pressure coming from that Tuskegee defense, just flying through there and not allowing him to get comfortable. Just real nice penetration.
Jarrell Colbert able to get up there for the 3rd time today. We called his name. Had a sack earlier. They got to him quickly again that time, forcing a throw to just not take a loss.
Colbert is like on fire. That's 2 plays in a row.
There's no foul for intentional grounding. Number 6 was in the area.
Look how quickly he gets there, gets off the line. I think they were trying to set up a screen, but it just discombobulated, and that's why he had to get rid of the football really quickly.
Colbert, who was originally listed as 95 on the roster, now wearing 56. He has made a couple of really good plays in this game. And they were looking for someone to step up on the defensive line. He's been the one so far. 3rd and long here for Kelvin Durham, directing traffic. Wanted Zatarius Anderson there. Pass incomplete.
One of the things that I saw in warm-ups was this from Kelvin Durham. Ball kind of gets away from him. He wants the receiver to go deeper, and sometimes when he did that, it would the ball just gets away. Look at this. You're going to see him get back there, and then he wants to direct the receiver, and ball just gets. He's prone to throw it a little bit high, and that's no chance for the receiver there to make a play on it.
Stanley Livingstone was in on the coverage that time. A guy kind of stepping up at the corner spot today against a really good wide receiver in Zatarius Anderson. Antonio Kennan out at the corner spot for Tuskegee, so Livingstone stepping up, and he's done a nice job of it. High punt, takes the Tuskegee hop. Ops have been favoring the Golden Tigers over these last few possessions. Their offense has scored on 2 straight possessions here in the Boeing Red Tails Classic. Welcome in Dr. Terrence Ferguson, one of the stars of Critter Fixers, Country Vets, a graduate of both Fort Valley State and Tuskegee, the veterinary school at Fort Valley State, and then he got his doctorate at Tuskegee. One of the many very impressive alums of both of these schools. Bringing in Dr. Terrence Ferguson now. Jason Ross Jr., Charles Arbuckle with us as well. Well, Terrence, this is really cool. You get to watch both of your alma maters here.
Yeah, both teams. It's fantastic. You know, I get to see both schools that I attended, and it's kind of a tough when you come to the game, like what side am I going to be on? Who am I rooting for?
Well, you got the FVSU on, so I guess you're going for them.
We get a big play down the middle here. Tuskegee continuing the momentum that we've seen over the last couple of drives. Latravian O'Neal, the tight end from around this area, just one town over, able to make a big play here, gain of 41.
Battled some injuries last year, but you can see that he free release, tight end gets down the field. My eyes got open for him. Just catch the ball and try to run down the field. Really nice job of getting in that open space, and nice delivery by Bryson Williams. So your son is also a football player.
Yes, yes.
University of Alabama.
Correct,
right?
yeah, he's an offensive lineman at the University of Alabama.
So you're used to the big guys up front doing different things. What was it like to attend both of these schools and then get your veterinarian degree? 75% of African Americans that are now vets in the country come from Tuskegee. Yeah.
Correct, you know, and it was very important, you know, for me to go to HBCU when I was coming out of high school. Ironically, I almost chose to go to undergrad at Tuskegee. I switched up the night of signing day, and I said I'm going to Fort Valley. I had a little lineage and family that had gone there, and went to Tuskegee for School of Veterinary Medicine.
Can you talk more about the School of Veterinary Medicine at Fort Valley and Tuskegee, and why that has the number that Charles just pointed out there, why that has been so high over the years?
Yeah, you know, it's, there are not a lot of veterinary schools, that's one thing, so it's kind of challenging to get in. And luckily we have HBCU that allows, you know, young men and women that look like me to attend School of Veterinary Medicine. So it's very important for us to do, because as you said, there's 75% of veterinarians of color graduate from Tuskegee School of Veterinary Medicine.
What made you go into the vet side as opposed to something else?
Oh, well, I want to be a veterinarian since I was 8 years old.
Okay.
You know, I had a dog that was hit by a car at a young age, and kind of lit a fire in me to just want to help animals. You know, didn't know veterinarian. I just know that I wanted to be an animal doctor and help animals.
I love when I watch your show. I love some of the things you guys do. Not only do you make the animals comfortable, but you make the people comfortable too, because sometimes that's their babies.
That's definitely part of it. You know, as I'm here, I want to send a shout out to my the other half of Critter Fixer Veterinary Hospital, Dr. Hodges' birthday. He's celebrating a birthday, so I want to say happy birthday to him. But, you know, he and I have fun. Yeah. We enjoy being veterinarians. We enjoy the family of the employees that we have. Mm-hmm. And we know that that human-animal bond is very, very strong. We don't look at the animals as being animals or pets. They're members of the family. And that's how we treat them and our clients when we come in. We always say the beauty of being a veterinarian is we can help the whole household. If I help the animal, I've helped the owner too.
That's Dr. Bernard Hodges.
Yes.
You're referencing there, also an HBCU grad.
Yes.
You guys host the show Critter Fixers Country Vets, which streams on Disney Plus, by the way. I highly would recommend checking it out. One of my favorite things is the show titles. I wanted to bring them up here. We got a few on here.
Yes.
So, The Lizard of Hodge.
Yes.
Chock full of puppies.
Yes.
Fish out of water. Catastrophe.
Yes.
As the kick goes up, and it's good here for Tuskegee taking a 10-point lead. Where was the inspiration for that?
Yeah, so, you know, basically just trying to, you know, we have fun. So they try to make the titles fun as well. So it may be Dr. Hodges loves aquatics, so he did surgery on our fish and actually took the fish out of water to do the surgery. So that's why he called the fish out of water.
I love it, I love it. We'll have some more fun coming up in the Red Tails Boeing Classic. Ten-point Tuskegee lead after the last field goal, early stages, second quarter. Well, Saturday night, it's a big one. Steve Sarkisian heads back to Tuscaloosa to lead number 11 Texas against Nick Saban and number 4 Alabama. Remember, these teams played a really good game a season ago in Austin, now facing off in Tuscaloosa. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on the ESPN app, while the colorful Pat McAfee and his crew highlight our ESPN2 telecast. The College Game Day crew kicks off their coverage from Tuscaloosa at 9 a.m. Eastern time. You see, it was Mac Brown. We watched him get the job done last night against South Carolina. Now, of course, the coach of North Carolina, but most of those wins came at Texas. Nick Saban, of course, 281 wins, the 2 most career FBS wins among active head coaches. Couple of legends here.
Yeah, both of these guys have just shown consistency, how to win in different programs with just getting to the highest level of their pinnacle. And then Nick Saban, what he's been able to do with Alabama is just unbelievable.
That should be a fun one. It was such a good game last season.
Sarkisian knows that he has a chance with the quarterback play and running game, but you've got to play well against that Alabama team, especially on the road.
Tristan Morgan returning there. And now Kelvin Durham set to come back out. Since their first possession, which found the end zone, Fort Valley with just 14 total yards. They had the punt return fumble that really turned this game around. 17 unanswered points by Tuskegee since that fumble. Kentrell Williams on the carry.
Well, and the defense almost did a nice job. Remember, with the almost pick that would have probably been turned over. But what they have to do now is get back to the run game. I think that's what was effective for them. You see those 2 pullers getting out in front. Nice job by the back, Kentrell Williams, of being patient and letting that his lead blocker get there and make sure it gives him some space.
Get back to the basics.
Yeah.
That's what their offensive coordinator,
now
Bill Hurst.
free play for them right here. They're going to go after it.
They're going to try to take advantage of it. Looking for Dewan Bell that time. More flags go flying. Stanley Livingstone on the coverage.
Reason I say free play, you get them off sides with the snap count, right? That's another way to make the defense jump. You saw on the left side of the line of scrimmage, 2 guys jumping off sides, and then you get a penalty down the field with pass interference on the free play, so to speak.
Maybe this is what Fort Valley needed to get the momentum going again on their side.
Yeah, this is an opportunity, you said, to get that momentum back.
There are multiple fouls on the defense. Offside, number 90 is declined. Pass interference, number 11. That 15-yard penalty results in first down.
You compound this when the defense jumps offside right here. 2 guys offsides, okay, free play. Quarterback says, I got to attack. This is a great job by Kelvin Durham, but also the receiver of trying to get himself in position. Dewan Bell, watch how he comes back and he runs on the rail, gets back there, and the defensive back, Stanley Livingston, is in no man's land, and that's why you get those 15 yards. Little fundamental football again. We saw the running back wait patiently. That time, just those things get you back in the game, the little fundamentals of the football game.
The miscues on the fundamental side for Fort Valley led to 17 points for Tuskegee. Now it's starting to flip back in favor of Kentrell Williams and this running game.
This is also created by Kelvin Durham of holding. Watch how long he holds the ball to Williams. Watch this right here. See, he sees it, and it keeps the defense. You see those 2 defenders can't get there. Again, not little things add up to big plays.
Kentrell Williams elevated to a larger role this year. Intentions that time for Fraylin Warren Jr. out of his reach. Looking for a quick screen to set up there.
What did we say about Kelvin Durham? When I've watched him on tape from last year even, when he misses high or he'll miss low. Right there, that's just an easy throw and catch. Get it out to Fraylin Warren and let him do the work. And these guys have played, they know each other. They played since Pop Warner, against each other, work together.
Durham 0 for his last 4 through the air. Would love to get back on track. But right now the ground game has them on the plus side of the 50, so they go back to it. Into the teeth of the Tuskegee defense there.
That guard center area was a good push. That's why we haven't heard Vincent Hill's name. Jeremy Dees is in the mix, a guy that was all SIAC last year, battling some injuries. But again, this offensive line that really is a younger group showing some good things so far against this Tuskegee defensive line.
Took them a sec to settle in, and now they've settled in. Dean's a redshirt senior, so one of the upperclassmen on a relatively young defense. Meanwhile, Durham pressured again, able to elude the initial trouble. Kept the play alive and made something out of nothing. There's a flag down, but he has Zatarius Anderson, who's inside of the 20-yard line. If this stands, we'll see what the upcoming call is from Ben Cole and his crew. But right now, it's a gain of 28 on the field. Zelly Aldridge made the tackle.
You stay alive, and you find a way to get down the field. Anderson stayed short. You had a guy coming over the top, and Kelvin Durham getting away from that issue. It was really nice.
His offensive coordinator, Joe Hurst, was fired up there. Gotta love that.
Personal foul, late hit on the quarterback. Defense, number 26. Half the distance to the goal. First down, Fort Valley.
I didn't see a late hit there. I just saw a guy coming at the end. But Kelvin Durham here, the ability to get away from Zelly Aldridge and then get the ball down the field. Now, I wouldn't call that a late hit. That's just a little love tap if you're a defensive guy. And I'm an offensive guy now. That was not a late hit. But they give him that extra yards, and then the momentum starts again. They've really done a nice job on this drive of attacking this defense.
You surprise me every day, my friend. Braylon Warren in motion here. Fort Valley State knocking on the door. Now they've opened up the door, and they find the end zone. Chance to pull within 3 here thanks to the legs of Kentrell Williams.
Man, they're doing such a good job on that interior offensive line. That play, Kentrell Williams has just shown some patience, but I love what they've done interior, and then also the tight ends doing a nice job of blocking. I got to give them some love as well. You know why?
There you go. There you go. Daniel Gibbs.
We said we have a ball game. I anticipated a really tough game today, and it's matching up that way.
We certainly do. How about this opening half? Fort Valley State scored first, 17 unanswered from Tuskegee, and now the answer back.
Look at that blocking there. Stiggers or Plater. One of them will fold around, and then those tight ends that get outside and do a nice job of just annihilating the edge. Look, that makes it easy. When you're a running back, you say, hey, I got all that room. Christian Ramsey, you're a little bit too late. I'm getting in the end zone for 6. And it's almost a rhythm. You can sense it when you play. Offensive football is rhythmic. If you're getting off balance and you're not doing the things, or you're having penalties, you know, like if you're not dancing smooth like we see these people. See how they're moving? That's an offense. That's a good offense. When the offense is in rhythm, but the defense wants to disrupt it, and that's what Fort Valley State did right there. They were rhythmic.
Speaking of parties, the best tennis party is the U.S. Open. Round of 16 continues tomorrow morning on ESPN at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. 4 hours of primetime coverage on ESPN2 starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific time. Every point is also streaming live on the ESPN app. Plenty of dancing in New York. Plenty of dancing here in Montgomery. It's a party. It's been a fun party in this opening half. Fan bases have showed up and showed out on a Sunday evening here in Montgomery.
I'll say this, man. They get after it on special teams. That Tuskegee team has been flying around the edge here lately. And it goes back and forth because both kickoff teams have said, look, we are not going to let you get a big return on us.
There's Kerryon Taylor on the return. Malik Hart came over to make the play. Both schools talked to us about special teams and the importance of that today. Aaron James, the head coach for Tuskegee, played for Tuskegee, was an awesome quarterback, 42-5 in his day. Now watching Bryson Williams. Whistles before this snap. Williams won't get the playoff. We'll see what the call is here.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
First play of the drive is the one thing you don't want to come out and have that.
From playing until the ball is snapped.
You don't want that to happen, the first play coming out for the drive, especially after you just given up a touchdown.
Saw Aaron James there. He was the offensive coordinator. He calls the plays. Offensive background. Mentioned he played QB. Won 3 SIAC championships during his day. Only lost to Fort Valley State once. He made sure to tell us that.
He said
he throws the screen here.
He said his keys to the game are score, right? Tempo, multiple sets. They bring a lot of different things, and you can see him there telling his offensive assistant to signal in what they want to run.
Antonio Meeks on the catch that time. No gain. Remember, they run the no huddle, so they want to try to move as fast as possible. Jokingly said they do not want our production crew to get replays in today. They want to keep it moving fast. Had to make an adjustment there. Williams keeps it this time. Found a bit of a crease up the middle and stretched his way out to near the 30-yard line. Looks like a gain of about 7 there. So brings up 3rd and short.
Well, you got a big offensive line in front of you, and then you just find and pick a hole. Those guys have done a nice job of picking up all of that stuff in there and making sure that Bryson Williams can get down the field. You see him looking over to the side to see if there are any adjustments. Check with me. Aaron James can be his eyes, but he also has to be Aaron James' eyes as well. Great call.
Went with a fake there and handed it off. Zena Moba on the carry.
They're finding little creases in that defense, which is a defensive line that's a strength for Fort Valley State.
Now they're getting back to their tempo. Kenyon Webb on the connection here. He and Bryson Williams played for the same high school, Arabia Mountain High School in Georgia. But there's a connection there going back to their high school days.
Elliott Howell, also one of those guys that played Arabia Mountain High School as well. So you got 3 starters on this team that have played high school football together.
A lot of recruiting in Georgia and Florida for these programs. They go back to Moba on the carry there, the true freshman back. He's a guy who studies the game a lot.
It's interesting to watch the chess match between Aaron James and Denzel Jones, how they're going back and forth, doing the different, are you playing checkers now? Are you playing chess? What do we got?
Denzel Jones is the defensive coordinator for Fort Valley State. His team has Tuskegee in a 3rd and 6 situation here. Williams going to be dragged down.
Yeah, they're going to call him down there. Moba almost had a nice block on the edge.
Put it on the field. The quarterback was down. 4th down.
Alfonso Harris got up there to make the play.
Alfonso Harris Jr., watch him, 57. Working his way around and then he's held up, blocked really well, but able to get off and make a play. Nice play, and again, the defensive line that we talked about. That was a really nice play by them of getting to Bryson Williams.
That kick was nearly blocked.
You couldn't come any closer.
It was airtight. This game airtight so far. 3 points separating Tuskegee and Fort Valley State in the Boeing Red Tails Classic. 3-point lead for Tuskegee in the Boeing Red Tails Classic. Just under 5 to go in this 2nd quarter for the Fort Valley State offense that's starting to rediscover their groove a little bit. There's their offensive coordinator, Joel Hirsch, who in the offseason, Charles, had the team over for a little Madden tournament. His wide receivers and QBs in particular. He reluctantly admitted that he went out in the 2nd round and his QB, Kelvin Durham, ended up winning the tournament. But he got fired up. He loves this group. Little team bonding there.
He wants a rematch.
Well, he's got a QB change right now. Donovan Anthony has come in at QB. We asked him about Donovan Anthony, and he said he's a guy who can get us lined up and knows all the checks and changes. Hands it off here to Brandon Marshall, the running back. So an interesting change in developments here as he goes to a new QB, kind of away again from Kelvin Durham, who, mind you, if you just tuned in late, is the preseason Offensive Conference Player of the Year in the SIAC.
And he may have been nicked up a little bit earlier, or they just want to get Donovan some touches, get him some opportunities to make some plays as well.
Donovan Anthony from Washington, Georgia, as that tackle is made behind the sticks there. And they called Anthony a quick learner, too. He's got an early third down situation. Again, Fort Valley State has kind of struggled through the air since that opening drive. This feel like an obvious passing down situation to you?
It seems like a third down. But they've run the ball so effectively, it just really depends on what they're looking for. I think they're going to have to throw it here.
They do throw it, but they go to the running back in Marshall, who's trying to make a couple men miss. Good pursuit of the football from Tuskegee. There's Malik Moore coming over to make the play. Talked about him earlier on in the broadcast. He and Vincent Hill are that linebacker tandem, and they stepped up big there on third down.
Vincent Hill talked about how well he was playing in camp. Said he's a funny guy, but he gets between the lines, and he's ready to play. We've seen him show up quite a bit today, especially against this Fort Valley State running game. But that time in coverage, gets over there nicely and stops the running back from getting any yards.
Karan Taylor is back to return. Taylor makes the fair catch. This matchup a lot closer right now than the previous two, in which Fort Valley outscored Tuskegee 51-6. Explosive plays last year, specifically on the ground for Fort Valley. Their running back at the time, Emmanuel Wilson, who's now with the Green Bay Packers, ran wild for 265. Year before that, a shutout. Tuskegee has a lot of pride. They're the winningest program in HBCU football, and you can feel how much they want to bounce back from these last couple of scores. Here is the Emmanuel Wilson highlight show from last season.
Well, and if I were Aaron James, I would show this, and that's probably what he did. We're not going to have this happen to us again this year. And you can already tell this is a different ball game and a different club, especially for Tuskegee.
Bryson Williams back out at QB. Might have something here downfield. He does. It's Antonio Meeks on the grab. Third time today, those two have hooked up on the deep ball.
Julio Jones, Keenan Allen, and Tyreek Hill are guys that he says he patterns his game after. Ooh, stutter step, I'm gone by you. And if I'm even, I'm leaving, and the quarterback knows it. Great job by Bryson Williams of dropping that ball in there. Stutter and go are the hardest things to cover for a defensive back. Landon Austin, I feel for you, buddy.
Landon Austin, the sophomore corner. Meeks coming back as a sophomore as well. That's an interesting sophomore-on-sophomore matchup. Remember, Meeks is the returning leader in terms of passing, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns in the SIAC conference.
Chase Sellers with that run there didn't pick up any yards, and that defensive line showed some teeth there after giving up a big play.
Tuskegee's moving and grooving now. Able to pick up some yards on second down.
Jaden Walker, the first one there.
Going back to Sellers.
About 4 or 5 Fort Valley guys. That's the thing. If your defense gets attacked, you've got to figure out a way to keep them out of the end zone now. And you can see Josh Burney, Quintel Jones, those guys up front. Tim Alderman, I must mention, is not playing. He was injured during camp. He's one of their key guys, 7.5 sacks last year. This defensive front is their strength. Let's see if they can hold this Tuskegee team from scoring.
Don't forget, coming up on the All-State Halftime Report, Kevin Nagandi and Booger McFarland will break everything down. Deion's debut yesterday as Williams goes to the end zone. Meeks rises up again. Did he make that grab again? He did. What a catch for Antonio Meeks. And he's a bit banged up in the back of the end zone. 2 long connections between that tandem. leads to a Tuskegee touchdown.
I wrote down what Meek said. I want to be a better version of myself this season. Averaged 22.3 yards a catch. Felt like he had some plays that he didn't make last year that he wanted to make this year. I'll be doggone. He's made some plays early in this game. Look at him extend. Now Bryson Williams is going to give him a chance in the back of the end zone and go up and get it, young man. Go up and get that ball and score. Wow. Again, in between those safeties, getting the ball, driving it down the field, and allowing him to go up and make a play. Outstanding effort, great throw, but even better catch by Antonio Meeks.
Antonio Meeks has put so much work into his craft. Dropped weight in the offseason from 215 to 185 pounds. You see his mobility, flexibility, agility on display there for yet another spectacular grab. Point after attempts is good. Meeks, by the way, up to 120 yards receiving in this game.
He knew he was going to get a chance to make plays today.
That was his first touchdown grab.
When you know you have safeties too high and you can drive the ball like this,
defense,
it makes you feel good as a receiver, but also as a quarterback, because you know this is coming and you got that chance, get to the end zone and score. And I just said the defensive line that did a pretty nice job the two plays before. Aaron James said, okay, let's go over the top and attack.
With the updated stats, he's now up to 140. Buck 40 in this opening half receiving, and the latest a touchdown grab.
But Kelvin Durham was in the tent the last drive. So it's interesting to see if he's going to be able to come back and what his health status is. Really key, important person for this Fort Valley State team.
Preseason Conference Player of the Year, went to the tent earlier in the half, returns. Then he wasn't out there on the last drive. Donovan Anthony, the backup QB, had that drive for Fort Valley State. So we'll see who is out there for this next offensive series with still 54 seconds left and 3 timeouts for Fort Valley State. DeJuan Bell back to return this kick. Bryson Williams, by the way, 8 for 10 through the air. He's been very efficient for Tuskegee. Woo! More good kick coverage from Tuskegee. There are flags flying here. Daquan Kimber came up to make the play.
And he was getting blocked and still just couldn't get impeded.
It was Justin Harris receiving.
And Justin Harris did not anticipate that happening. Now I think there were multiple penalty flags.
Illegal block in the back. Number 11, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down, Fort Valley.
When you have guys flying down the field and you're not able to get them, that was a block in the back, and he actually knocked him into the returner.
It's Sean Robinson. So sets Fort Valley State back. Again, they had a little under a minute, still do, with all 3 timeouts. Donovan Anthony's back in at QB to keep you posted on that brewing storyline with Kelvin Durham in the tent without his pads on. Go to Kentrell Williams here on the carry.
Well, and you don't want to be one-dimensional. You know, you have to still attack and keep your game plan there. They've run the football effectively, but they're going to have to throw it.
Tuskegee.
On the flip side, for Tuskegee,
30 seconds.
They have been dynamic through the air and on the ground in different ways. And Bryson Williams, again, another returning starter, just like Durham is for Fort Valley State. Of course, Durham injured right now. Can't give enough credit for what Tuskegee has done offensively after a year last year in which they raised their points per game from 19 to 27. They've got 24 in this opening half for the offensive mind of Aaron James, who's on your screen there.
The mentality, and you can just hear that. Both ball clubs didn't know what they would have, right?
Yep.
You can say, this is what happened in fall camp. These guys look well. But the one thing that I got out of those calls was that Aaron James said, look, we're not going to be bad again. We're going to compete. And you see that. You saw that from the very beginning. You see guys flying down on special teams consistently, making plays. Not only that, but what was the momentum changer? Your long snapper goes down and knocks the ball out, and ever since then, this momentum has turned towards Tuskegee.
And that's not something you expect to say. The long snapper going out, forcing a punt, changed the momentum of the game. That was the key turnaround. Tuskegee rattled off 17 unanswered points after Fort Valley scored the first 7. Now a 24-14 lead. As they go back to Kentrell Williams in the ground game, they appear to be content to run here. Making the play is Vincent Hill, who we highlighted in our open.
Timeout, Tuskegee.
Timeout called by Tuskegee now.
30-second timeout.
Zelly Aldridge is upset because he was there first. He had the tackle in the backfield, and he just whiffed on it. I know he's mad at himself. He said, man, Vincent is going to get the stat, but that was mine.
Well, it's time now for the All-State Good Hands play of the game. Antonio Meeks could give us maybe 2 or 3 All-State Good Hands plays of the game so far, but here's the latest that resulted in a touchdown.
Well, I mean, you want Sports Center, right? This is how you go get it. And, I mean, go attack the ball. Quarterback gives you a chance. He knows you can climb the ladder. What did he say? He loves Julio Jones, Keenan Allen, and Tyreek Hill, all really fabulous receivers in their own right. But this young man is showing some skill right now tonight.
Man, he was so impressive to talk to as well. Talked to us about his role models, mentioned Keenan Allen. He talked about Julio Jones, put in so much work in the offseason individually, and mentioned his team a lot in practically every answer he gave us. So, I mean, this is a guy that's going to be big for them this season, and he's showing why.
And he talked about all the other receivers and what they had improved and how they had worked together, which was interesting. Also, Bryson Williams, how he felt like this was going to be a big year for him as well.
Yep. Has a really good rapport with his QB. Final 29 seconds. Donovan Anthony pressured and dropped. Swarmed by the Golden Tigers defense. Lance Watkins was in there, among others.
Timeout. Tuskegee, the third and final timeout of the half. Be a 30-second timeout.
I mean, it's like 5 or 6 guys just right there on Donovan Anthony. He had no real chance to break away from that defensive front. Malik Moore was the first one there and couldn't bring him down. But I think we saw that was the one thing we were wondering coming into this game. You and I even talked about it at lunch. Would the defensive front for Tuskegee hold up against the run game, especially after they had been bludgeoned the last 2 years by this Fort Valley State team? Totally different team, and you can see what Aaron James has brought to this ball club in this first half. Can they hold on to it? And then also, can Fort Valley State make plays now that Kelvin Durham has not played for the last 2 series?
This is the second shanked punt that we've seen, and it's going to result in an opportunity with 15 seconds here for at bare minimum Tuskegee to get 3 more points onto this. Very frustrated with himself here is Daniel Gibbs, the kicker.
Yeah, punt, pass, and kick was not my specialty. It looked like the ball got into him, and he just whiffed it. I could kick the ball, I could throw the ball, but I couldn't punt it. That was a shank for me. I feel bad for him.
We talk about special teams, such an important aspect of football. It's now 2 special teams miscues for Fort Valley State in this opening half that look like it could potentially turn into more points for Tuskegee here. This is a golden opportunity for the Golden Tigers.
Protect the football, drive it down the field. If you can't score, kick a field goal, but I would imagine they're going to attack sudden change offense here.
Zena Moba's in at running back, but all eyes are on number 15 right now, Antonio Meeks, who has been making plays.
Fort Valley, the first time out of the half.
So Fort Valley now wants to talk it over.
They saw Landon Austin out there one-on-one, and they made a timeout change, and that was smart.
That's a matchup that Antonio Meeks has won.
Yes.
We'll Please help support the American Red Cross now. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN to support the American Red Cross. Beautiful night here in Montgomery, Alabama. The historic Crampton Bowl opened in 1922. Last year was the 100th year of this historic facility. It was originally a baseball stadium and converted to a football stadium. So much history between these two programs. So much history in this city. You walk around Montgomery and you feel it everywhere. And now 15 seconds left in what's been an entertaining opening half in the 3rd annual Boeing Red Tails Classic.
So many civil rights things in this city, and getting a chance to go over and visit some of them. We'll talk about it in the second half, but this is a great venue for football.
Very powerful. I walked past the Rosa Parks statue earlier today. Just an awesome city. Bryson Williams isn't done yet in this opening half. A flag goes flying, might be in the holding zone as the clock dwindles down to single digits.
Bring that back about 10 yards. I love to see the offensive lineman plead with the referee. Try to talk him out of it, give him the penalty.
Holding offense, number 65, 10-yard penalty. First down.
Sean Stitton, one of those starters from last year, got just pushed back, couldn't, basically that's a takedown, WWE style.
My next question for you is going to be, feel comfortable with your kicker. 7 seconds left. You bring him out, and Tuskegee answers our questions here. Lorcan Ryans is going to come out.
They both said these guys have legs and the ability to kick that ball down the
Fort
field.
Valley. Their second timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
This Tuskegee offense has put up 24 points in the opening half, averaged 27 a season ago. It's a Fort Valley State team that only allowed 22 points per game last year. They found their footing after a first couple of frustrating series, thanks in large part to this guy, Antonio Meeks.
Going against Austin, that's one of them. And then you have the running game that was running well with Chase Sellers behind that offensive line. Look at that, taking on 7 or 8 guys, and then finally give him the ball. Give him the score. The offensive linemen love it because they have blocked for him and they know he was going to get there. And now this was an outstanding play by Bryce Williams and Antonio Meeks.
So now time for Lorcan Ryans to attempt to extend this Tuskegee lead to 13. It's a 47-yard attempt. We were told they feel comfortable about him in this range. It was blocked. Special teams has been key, and they're saying, go ahead and pick it up. And then a hard hit laid there
That is the end
on the ties right, but
halftime.
they get the block at the end of the day. Bit of miscommunication there on whether or not they should have picked it up.
Yeah, he panicked. They had a chance.
Yeah.
But really nice job on the interior. Get that hand up. Boom. Right there. Nice job. Interior D linemen are taught, if you can't get there, just throw that hand up and make a play.
It was DJ Wilson who got the big paw on it. You're looking for all the momentum you can get right now if you're Fort Valley State in this Boeing Red Tails Classic. Tuskegee with a 10-point lead, but a couple of explosive teams going head-to-head with still plenty of football to go in what has been an exciting evening turned night in Montgomery, Alabama, here on ESPNU.
My definition of success.
Boeing Red Tails Classic, 3rd straight year on ESPNU. Charles Arbuckle, Jason Ross Jr. welcoming you back here to Montgomery, Alabama at the Crampton Bowl in this game that honors the Tuskegee Airmen who fought in World War II. Both of these SIAC NCAA Division II HBCU schools, Fort Valley State and Tuskegee, going at it here. Tuskegee up 24-14. They went down 7-0 early, then rattled off 17 in a row. Here's how the game began with Kelvin Durham. This was the opening drive for Fort Valley State.
Yeah, Kelvin Durham came out smoking. That offense was really effective, but then a special team snafu for Fort Valley State. Chase Sellers gets in for 6, and then this team just kept battling that Tuskegee ball club, and this outstanding throw and catch by Antonio Meeks. Man, Tuskegee really got on a roll, and now Fort Valley State has to figure out a way to turn this thing around, maybe without Kelvin Durham.
Yeah, Durham went to the tent early in the half, returned, then went right back into the tent, unfortunately. He's the preseason all-conference offensive player of the year, and you see in the passing game, they're really missing him right now. On the opposite side for Tuskegee, 140 of those 185 passing yards have gone to Antonio Meeks.
Yeah, and you can see 8.2 yards per play. That's explosive plays. You're almost getting a first down every single play, and we saw that from Tuskegee. Fort Valley State has to get back to what they were doing on those first couple of drives.
They're really enforcing their will. The Tuskegee defensive line, which was a group that we didn't really know what to expect from.
Yeah.
They've stepped up. There's Sean Gibbs, the head coach for Fort Valley State, coming off an 8-2 season a year ago. The best season in a decade for the program, and it meant a lot to the fan base that has really showed up today, made the trip over from Georgia.
Well, you see Coach Gibbs upset because they had the wrong returner in, and he was getting to the special teams guy and saying, we need to make sure we have the right people in.
2 special teams miscues, couple of big ones, a fumbled punt return that we didn't show you there that really changed the tide in this game, and then a shanked punt that set up Tuskegee at the 20-yard line of Fort Valley State. Meanwhile, bouncing off a couple of tacklers there is Justin Harris for Fort Valley State. And now this offense, so the Wildcats will come out here. Emmanuel Wilson is the big missing piece from their offense a season ago. He's now with the Green Bay Packers, just led the NFL preseason in rushing yards as an undrafted free agent after signing with the Packers. Now he's potentially one of the top backs in the Packers depth chart to show you what they're missing that they had a season ago in this game.
The hardest thing in first games, because you haven't had any scrimmages like this. They haven't been live, and special teams is the area where it's most often overlooked, and that's where you have the biggest issues early in the season. Player down.
Tuskegee player down here. Their training staff comes out to tend to him. Can't quite make out the number from our distance up here in the booth. Both teams over on their sidelines right now.
And in the huddle, I see Donovan Anthony getting ready to go back in for Fort Valley State.
Yep.
That's a key development for them. He has to play well for this team, and that meaning play well, not just running the football, but finding some key throws.
It's their offensive coordinator, Joel Hirsch, on your screen right now.
I think it's Jeffrey Carter, number 10, who they helped off the field.
There's Emmanuel Wilson again from a season ago. Ran for 265, couple of touchdowns. The start of an incredible season that he had. Kelvin Durham only had to throw it 17 times in that game to indicate how successful the run game was. Meanwhile, it's Donovan Anthony back in, trying to get the timing down with his receivers. You think about camp over the last couple of weeks, of course, this is not a scenario you anticipated having.
Well, and you practice to prepare to play, and I agree with you. But right here, this is one of those that just get it out to Alex Hinton. He throws it back too far and not able to connect there. But again, they've made that play probably 100 times in practice, but now it's the speed and the tempo is a little bit different.
They go back to the ground game. Speaking of the ground game, by the way, Emmanuel Wilson became the 14th Fort Valley State Wildcat to make it to the NFL. It's a really cool story out of the program. Ran for over 100 yards in his first preseason game with the Packers, which was against the Bengals back on August 11th, and now he's made that roster. He and his head coach Sean Gibbs have been keeping up with one another.
He was supposed to be here, but just the Packers said, you got to come back. He said, okay.
Just another example of the talent out of these HBCU programs, though, Charles. It's immense. There's a ton of talent. Saw what Deion Sanders and Colorado did yesterday with a lot of players who were at an HBCU in Jackson State a season ago. Meanwhile, into double coverage. That was nearly intercepted. A dangerous throw. They're trying to get this timing down, and it's just not quite working out right now. Defending there was Rossi Grimes, the DB.
Rossi Grimes with a great break on the ball. Good coverage already there, but Rossi Grimes comes over, and he's trying to throw into that area where he shouldn't be throwing to Michael King with a good coverage, and then Grimes knows he had the opportunity. Going back to your point, Jim Finks talked about that as well. Walter Payton was drafted by the Bears. When I was drafted by the Saints, there were a lot of guys that were from black colleges. Robert Massey from North Carolina Central. You had Brett Maxey from TSU with a host of others. But he always believed that, hey, these kids could play and they would do a really good job. And you can see that even in the Hall of Fame.
Your first letter, recruiting-wise, came from Grambling.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, man. That was unbelievable to get that.
Plenty of cool stories out of both of these schools. We'll step aside and look at the Fort Valley band there. Tuskegee up 10. Early stages, third quarter, under their first-year head coach, Aaron James, a former Tuskegee QB. Was the offensive coordinator before, was not only a quarterback, he was a star quarterback at Tuskegee from 1998 to 2001. 42-5 record as a starter, most wins among any QB in Golden Tigers history. Few conference championships as well. HBCU national championship in 2000.
And I love the humble, good run. And I love the humble brag by him. Hey, I only lost these guys one time.
Fort Valley State once, right? You got to get that in there. He's also a native of Pritchard, Alabama, graduate of Tuskegee, has a bachelor's degree in history. I know you're a big history guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where he understands the legacy here, and he talked about it. Hey, we're the winningest HBCU, when he wanted to instill that in these young men. Fort Valley State's not going to quit fighting. You know that. But when you have Aaron James back on that sideline, a little bit different.
Bryson Williams had time, and the pocket broke down. Aaron's wife, Rosie, and his two daughters, Aaron and Layla, are very proud of Dad and everything he's done so far. Just getting started here as the head coach of Tuskegee.
Let's give it a shout out to Reginald Ruffin. Coach Ruff also was the head coach, and they coached together at Miles College. He brought Aaron James over, and basically a coach in waiting almost, and then gave him the opportunity after last year to take over from the offensive coordinator position to become the head coach.
He thanks Coach Ruffin multiple times, and we chatted with him the other day. 3rd and 6 for his offense. Williams improvising, but then brought down. Dragged down by the ankles there. Adon Farmer able to make the play.
Farmer just was shot out of a cannon on that. 2 sacks last year. But that was a defensive front you expected to see. And those guys are flying to the football. At no time, Bryson Williams gets back there. Pressure on the outside, it's picked up. But Farmer came off and just made a nice play. Sean Stitton was trying to block him one-on-one, and he beat him and just got to the quarterback.
DeJuan Bell back to return here. Yeah, Farmer's one of the edge rushers for Fort Valley. Had 52 tackles last season. A guy who could be poised for a big season. There was some contact on the kicker for Tuskegee, Ryan Duff. He went down. There's a flag in the area. So now Ben Cole will make a call here that could be a big one. Looked, it was Devontae Amasiani who came up on the hit there against the punter.
Well, they've come close a couple of times and been able to not run into the punter.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker. Number 35, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Self-inflicted wounds, you just cannot have those. You know, and this is one where you can just pull off. Kicker does a nice job of giving some Hollywood, and actually but you can't go to him and just pull him down. You got to let him, you got to run by, act like. That's just the mistakes you cannot have in the special teams game. That was the one thing that talking to Coach Gibbs, he said, you know, that's the one concern we all have, no matter who you are, your first game, just because you just don't know how guys are going to react. And that's another free 15 yards you've given a deep offense that has really played well.
Special teams has on multiple occasions set Tuskegee up in plus territory. Back to the ground game behind an offensive line that returns 4 starters this year. And they set themselves up in some good position here. Don't forget our Monday night college football game, the only matchup on the Labor Day schedule, an all ACC affair between number 9 Clemson and Duke in Durham. That's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN and the app. Coverage begins with college football countdown at 7 Eastern time.
Be locked into that one. I got Duke next week.
Duke next week, that's right.
A short week for them. That's a pretty good team. Expected some good things out of Duke and Clemson.
Zena Mopa is the running back in here, true freshman, picking up a first down. They go to him a couple of times and get good chunks on both occasions.
And this is where, you, as a former quarterback, you know to say, hey, let's mash. Look at those guys here, all picking up someone. And Moba is able to just find a hole and hit it. Quarterbacks that understand offensive linemen know, hey, look, we got to lean on these guys now. And this is the Fort Valley State team that has been on the field quite a bit defensively. This is where you can really separate yourself with another touchdown if you're Tuskegee.
Top target all day has been Antonio Meeks. Williams keeps it here. They get another chunk on the ground, this time by the legs of their QB. Jaden Walker came over to finish him off, but not before another good chunk on first down.
Really improved on these kind of things, making the decision and not hesitating. Now, he was looking, everyone's covered, but watch, he goes through his progression. Okay, I got to get out of here and pick up some positive yards. Nice job by Bryson Williams. And now they've gone too tight, so we call this 12 personnel or ace, where you got those 2 big tight ends and 1 back. This is a time to lean on this Fort Valley State ball club.
That throw low, skipped off the turf, incomplete. The biggest matchup of the opening weekend in the SIAC. 2 teams that finished in the top 3 in the conference a season ago. Tuskegee made it all the way to the conference championship after going 8-3, lost to Benedict. Fort Valley came up second in their division, but went 8-2.
And it's interesting, this game doesn't count against their conference.
That's true.
You know, record, but it's still, it's bragging rights. You know,
it's a meaningful game,
oh,
and you can feel
definitely,
it.
Definitely. Oh.
Great crowd here at the historic Cranston Bowl in Montgomery. This Boeing Red Tails Classic on ESPNU. Williams to the air, has a completion. No surprise, it's Antonio Meeks again.
They come off the edge, but he can see the blitzer because he's a lefty. Watch the blitzer coming off the edge, and he just looks at him and knows, okay, I got to beat this one guy. He's not coming from my backside. When they vacate is where you throw. Meeks gets there. Nice, easy throw and catch.
Williams, that looked designed, took a big pop initially, then kept it alive. Somehow just turning his way. His passing yards were up at the end of the season, but we know he's a dual threat. And right now on this drive, his balanced skill set is really paying dividends.
It really is, and he's finding weapons when he needs to. But this time here, okay, I pull it, I'm going to take it, and then you're expecting help, but he just did it on his own. I mean, he ran through 2 or 3 defenders, and then the offensive line has to come and push to give him some extra yards. It's a 5-yard pickup. He also did that before when there was some pressure on him the last time.
3 receivers at the top. They go that way. Open man in the end zone. Noah Hart, his first touchdown of the day. And Tuskegee's opening up this game now.
What did Meek say about Hart? He said, I expect him to make some plays and contribute. And that was a nice play by Bryson Williams of throwing him open.
It's a receiving core that told us we feel like we need to prove ourselves today. I think they've done that.
That offensive line has to be thanked as well, because the running a game has set them up where it's put Fort Valley on their heels, and then when you throw, you attack.
Lorcan Ryans splits the upright with the extra point. Noah Hart, how about the Montgomery native in his hometown making the catch in the end zone? How about the Tuskegee student section today? Their team up 31-14. 9-11 to go in this third quarter. Antonio Meeks is a big reason why they're cheering today.
Offense is made off of rhythm. You see the stutter and go and get down the field and make a play. And then again, his ability to go up and high point the football. Right there, able to take it away. But this one right here was a big one. And when you got one-on-one coverage, your quarterback knows it, you know it, and you still find ways. Blitz comes after you, you're still able to get through. But this right here was a key play in the game. Going up high pointing it for 6.
The stop and go moves are ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. How about the spin too on the first one? Man, like he's playing Madden or something.
You know, when you have your rhythm and you know you're in one-on-one coverage and your quarterback knows it, it gets you a little juiced up.
His mom is at the game today too. She has not missed a game yet. Travels to all the road games. He said he plays for his family. They're his why. He's shown up today.
His feel for the game said he improved that. You can see it. Recognition, situational football, knowing when I have coverage where I need to be. And then Bryson Williams putting the ball in good spots for him to make those plays. I want to see Fort Valley get something going here offensively, because I know what we saw earlier is the same team. Now they just have to manifest it themselves. And Kelvin Durham is back, and he is a key component of this offense. Hopefully whatever is ailing him, he can battle the rest of the game and not have that be a factor.
He's had to leave the game twice now. He tuned in late, early in the first half, went to the tent, returned to the game, then went back. You wonder what he's battling through right now, though. You kind of see his arm taped up there. That bandage wasn't there to begin the game.
He went down earlier pretty hard, but after that, he was in the tent and has gone out a couple of times, as you said.
They have the preseason Offensive Conference Player of the Year back now, but the pressure hasn't let up from Tuskegee, a defensive line that we didn't know much about. And the coaching staff said we didn't know much about them, yet they needed to prove themselves. They've done that today. Play made there by Jaden Barfield.
Yeah, it looks like this team has now understood, okay, we may have a quarterback that's a little bit nicked up, and then we're going to get after him. We're going to make sure we see if he can really withstand some of this pressure that we're going to bring after him. Jaden Barfield right there on the spot. Lance Watkins started that, and then Barfield comes and cleans it up.
They're down 31-14, going to Brandon Marshall in the passing game here. There's a flag down. You can see the frustration on the Fort Valley faces.
Every time they seem to get something going, it's just a self-inflicted wound. I think this is going to be holding.
Holding. Offense, number 7, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Soterius Anderson. You know, that flare route, you can see Anderson holding up on Zelly Aldridge. And then there was another potential hold. There it is late, I'm sorry, at the very end. You had the potential to call it on DeJuan Bell, 17, and then they did tag Soterius Anderson.
Backs him up to 2nd and 17. They want the air game to be more prominent in the offense this year. Going deep here for Corinthians Edmonds, and he's able to make the play.
Jason, it just makes a big difference when he's in the game. When Bree is in the game, you can tell the players want to go make plays. He wants to help them get plays. Got that ball down the field, drove it. Really nice job. Defender there in perfect coverage. Michael King Jr., you couldn't be any closer. But just a great job by Edmonds of going up and making that play.
47 yards in the connection between Kelvin Durham and his leading returning receiver from a season ago, the Atlanta native Corinthius Edmonds. And now all of a sudden, they're cooking for the first time since Durham departed the game. He's back in, another quick throw on the slant. Able to find DeJuan Bell, who played 4 years at Furman in South Carolina before transferring, the new addition of the receiver group.
Well, and they're very fortunate that there's a touchdown-saving tackle, because that was a nice throw after a bad snap. He's able to pick it up. Grimes with the shoestring tackle.
Back out to the flats they go, moving quickly. Maybe the quickest we've seen them moving all game now. You like this tempo?
I do. I think it's got them off balance. Joel Hirsch feels more comfortable in calling these plays for Kelvin Durham. And his team has responded, other than that first play where he had a lot of pressure.
As much as you love to be able to use your backup, your offense is designed for the skill set of your starter.
It exactly is. And that's, I mean, you're not the SIAC, preseason player of the year just because, he can play.
Gentry Sparks made that last catch. How about back to the air again? Able to connect again.
And Jason, the why he can play is the decisiveness.
Back-to-back throws to Gentry Sparks. Noah Holton made the tackle.
Getting the ball out quick, fake and get through. And that last, one of the plays he made earlier, he wasn't in position because it was a bad snap, but still able to get the ball out.
It's a Tuskegee defense. Starting 4 freshmen today, Ramsey, Smith, Colton, and Grimes. But they performed well. They performed beyond what their ages are on paper. Big drive for Fort Valley here in this third quarter. To Brandon Marshall again. Didn't appear he got enough. He didn't. Still about a full yard and a half behind the sticks.
And I'll tell you why. The snap was not clean, and I don't think it allowed them to be in rhythm. Watch the snap. It wasn't sure, or was it a direct snap, or was it going to the quarterback? I think that miscommunication was just enough to stop them from getting that first down.
How do you feel about the decision to kick the field goal here?
I think it's very important to get points.
31-yarder for Daniel Gibbs. Shanked the punt at the end of the opening half. This 31-yarder is good, though. So they're back on the board after Tuskegee went on a run.
Timeout.
2-score game. It was the big catch from Corinthius Edmonds, 47 yards, that set up a drive that results in 3 points on the board for Fort Valley State. Kelvin Durham's team down 14. You see him on the sideline. His second year as the starter, but the veteran leadership here. He told us one of the goals, don't be too high, don't be too low. And he kind of embodies that when you talk to him.
Yeah, being an older brother, having four brothers and one sister, he's used to being a leader. But that's what the quarterback position usually commands you to be.
That's what he told us. It's a cool point you brought up, as this is now broken free down the sideline. One man to beat, and they're going to find the end zone.
What always happens in these situations is where you have guys converge and there's nobody to make a play, or they relax.
Juwan McGee on the return, 95 big yards.
So I think what happens is you think no one is going to catch him, or everybody else is there to catch him, and then all of a sudden you have to converge on the ball.
The kick is no good.
Poor snap. Never really got there clean. But again, when you have coverage and you think he's rally. Juwan McGee continues to stay effective. Look at that. 3 or 4 defenders hit him, and everybody kind of relaxes. And after that, he's able to escape. And the last person is Daniel Gibbs. Gibbs isn't going to get it. And he takes it to the house. Really nice job of staying focused on getting through all of those defenders. He gets through 3 or 4 guys, and then there's only one to beat. We talked about special teams being key. It has really paid dividends for this Tuskegee ball club.
The Tuskegee fan base is loving it. Their team, after Fort Valley answered back, looked like there's some momentum going. The special teams game has been so big in favor of the Golden Tigers.
Yeah, that was the one concern both coaches mentioned. Hey, we have to cover, we have to do things well. But I think that's where you end up with situations like this. And McGee wasn't even listed as one of the returners. Noah Hart and a bunch of other guys have been mentioned, but that's where you have, that's what happens in these games.
Dewan Bell returning here. Now he has a crease. Dewan Bell trying to answer with a kick return touchdown of his own. He has one man to beat. Answers right back.
That's how you answer the bell.
What an exchange.
You got one Dewan on the other side. You have another Dewan that says, you do it, I'm going to do it. Wow. And I'm going to tell you, this last block, when we see the replay, that is the key to making plays happen. You need all your guys to step up and play, but that was a huge block late to help him. And Fort Valley State could have been out of this. There's an injured player on the field. Now, when you have this ability to just say, hit the hole and go, you knew right away there was a special chance. But this is the key. He has a couple of key blocks late. And then this last block was critical by Tristan Morgan, the freshman out of Atlanta, Georgia. That's what you have to do. And I'm telling all the young people, when you watch games or you watch film, it's not the guy that scores all the time. It's all the other ones that are helping to make that happen.
Dewan Bell is one of the transfers for Fort Valley State this year that we talked about would be big. How often do you see back-to-back kick return touchdowns of 90-plus yards? We just saw it. We thought this would be a game with electric talent on display. Take a look at these returns. This is the first one.
Yeah, Juwan McGee, again, just attacking, and you thought he was down, and even the defenders that are there thought he was down. The only one left was Daniel Gibbs. And he had the chance, but he can't quite pull him down. And then this one here. The blocking that you have, you're going to see Harris 33 early. That was a nice block by 34, but watch this by 33 Harris, and then this one by Tristan Morgan. Those are critical plays that'll show up. And no matter what happens in the game, those are the coaching moments that you say, this is why you have to be hustling and getting after it every single play.
Two to one, same result. One on both sides. Fun little spurt in this game.
Oh, man.
Wow. Well, now we wait with bated breath for the next reserve. Juwan McGee once again finding space up to the 30.
They didn't hesitate this time.
Our hearts, I think, collectively were pounding here at the Crampton Bowl.
Oh, man.
Well, the U.S. Open round of 16 continues tomorrow morning on ESPN at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. We'll have 4 hours of primetime tennis coverage for you on ESPN2 starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Every point is also streaming live on the ESPN app. great crowd here in Montgomery, Alabama on this Sunday evening.
They have been in it from the very beginning.
They have. We had the bands out before the game. These crowds have not disappointed. Thanks for joining us tonight. Jason Ross Jr., Charles Arbuckle, our awesome ESPNU crew here with you for this Boeing Red Tails Classic. Fort Valley State has won the last 2 meetings between these teams. But as you told me last night, it's opening night. On paper, maybe Fort Valley State is the favorite today.
Yeah.
But it's opening night. We learned that in college football yesterday. You never know.
I mean, I think,
just don't know yet.
Yeah, you don't know, and you get better each week. But the distance that you come from, it's going to be offsides, from week 1 to week 2 is tremendous. DeAndre Harvey, the tight end, a little bit early.
False start. Offense. Number 13. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Just a little too quick. It was on 1, or it was on 2. He went on 1. This tight end group, they really think they have something in that makeup, and then on the other side as well. This offensive line, we talked about them having 4 returning starters. All of those guys have played well, and even Elliott Howell, who
is second down.
You know, well, they think the best player may be Chancellor Holliman, right guard.
Williams working behind him again. Just a short throw that's actually going to lose some yards here.
Really good defense these last 2 plays. They have just flown to the football and not given Tuskegee any opportunity to make any extra yards.
If you score a touchdown for Fort Valley State, you're right back within 6.
Yeah. I think that kick return really helped them get some momentum. Nice scrape by the linebacker there, just flying over to make a play.
Been an electric third quarter here in this Boeing Red Tails Classic. Williams under duress again, and this time he is sacked. Quentel Jones, who switched from 52 to 0, able to make the play.
Well, again, you think he's blocked up, and then he just gets off and able to make a nice play.
Adion Farmer, scratch that, makes the play there. That's several jersey changes tonight. Dewan Bell looking for a repeat act from the last time he was out there on special teams. Gets up to the 44. With under 2 minutes to go in this third quarter. Let's take a look at tonight's defensive spotlight, brought to you by Boeing. And it's the Tuskegee front 7 here.
Yeah, you talk about a group that was not well known. You didn't know what they were going to do, and right away you see Culprit make plays. Just really applying pressure and not letting KD get comfortable. Jaden Barfield, some of the names that we heard about but wanted to see. Barfield, a transfer out of Alcorn State.
So Durham back out there, his second series since returning from the injury. And this should be pass interference as Alex Henton was tripped up. Looked inadvertent, nonetheless. It's a flag, and it's going to be a first down for Fort Valley State.
Yeah, they want to get Henton really involved again this year. And nice job on the corner route. But Christian Ramsey, the free safety, in that no man's land, knows he has no help deep.
Pass interference. Defense, number 18. 15-yard penalty. First down.
This is where, as a tight end, you know I go down and there's nobody back there. But Christian Ramsey trips him up and gets the penalty call. He knew he was beat.
Sets up Fort Valley State in plus territory. Going out to Corinthians Edmonds here. In space, made a couple men miss. Some extracurriculars at the end of this play. Couple of players got tangled up. Flag went flying. Zatarius Anderson was in the mix. I can't quite see who he was going at it with for Tuskegee, but
helmets flinging.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a penalty here. Stanley Livingstone, the defensive back, was the Tuskegee player whose helmet came off.
There was some good blocking initially with Anderson and Shaw Robinson, but it got a little bit too heated.
Yep. After a really nifty run from Corinthians Edmonds, though.
We talked about it earlier, though. Those are those things you can't have happen. Stanley Livingstone out of Carson, California. Lawndale High School, San Jose State transfer. Covered him a couple of years ago when I called some San Jose State games, and he was a factor there. He's had to step in for some injuries in that secondary, which has also helped this Tuskegee defense. We talked about their front, but they had a lot of youth in the back as well.
He's an upperclassman, junior, so this will be an interesting call here to see what they come up with.
Real fouls by both teams. Going to run, holding, offense, number 7. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 7. Defense, number 11. We enforce the 10-yard holding penalty. This is the first unsportsmanlike conduct of the game. Remains first down.
So you got a lot going on in this play.
Lots of cleanup.
Holding play initially. You'll see
7, Zatarius Anderson.
That's your hole. Yeah, right there. On number 11, Stanley Livingstone, and then you don't see this, but here's the after effect. Right there, throwing each other down. Now, Anderson is fortunate that it was not called against, it was called against both of them, because not only did he hold, but the helmet flying off usually goes the other way, but they were able to call unsportsmanlike on both he and Livingstone.
So at the end of all that, resets to a 1st and 10 from the Tuskegee 42 for Kelvin Durham, whose return has instantly made an impact on the success for this Fort Valley State offense. But you wonder what that little brief hiatus between plays will do for their momentum and how they were kind of grooving each play. It's another quick throw. He wants Edmonds again. Oh, that was nearly intercepted. In on the coverage there was Mikhail King Jr.
He had every chance to make that interception. He and Edmonds giving each other dap. They've been going at it all game long. This ball just gets up high. It stays up there. And King Jr. with a nice play. All he has to do is come away and interception. He knows it.
Durham approaching the final minute of this 3rd quarter. That is intercepted. And look who it is, Mikhail King Jr. able to redeem himself on the ensuing play, and Tuskegee has the football right back.
Not a good decision by Kelvin Durham. Again, talking about making sure you take care of the football, you limit your turnovers, and you manage the game. That was not a good decision by him. Mikhail King Jr. in a perfect spot, knowing that the quarterback is there. He drives and then he comes up, and it was an ill-advised throw. He wanted to get it to Edmonds, but Edmonds was closer to the sideline. Throw that away. Not a good decision by Kelvin Durham. And I think you said it best. All of the stuff that happened, and unsportsmanlike penalty, the holding. We've seen those self-inflicted wounds, and that's one right there. all you have to do is just throw it away to live another day. Don't give that ball up like that.
There are moments in the game where it almost feel like you have to do more.
Yeah.
And that's an occasion there where you try to do a little more than you need to. As Chase Sellers is brought down.
Will Riggins with a really great play from going down in the pursuit. But you're right. I mean, you've been out of the game, you're behind, and you think you have to do a little bit more, and you played well up until that point. You haven't made any, just was not a good decision by him, and he knows that.
Will Riggins, one of the players that they've been rotating in, as you see Duane Bell and Kelvin Durham talking about plans for the fourth quarter, which still just a 2-score game. That, of course, gives momentum back to Tuskegee, but just a 2-score game going into this fourth as they hold up the 4 fingers.
Yeah. Now your defense has to hold, and then you get the ball back and just methodically march down the field. You're not going to get it all at once.
That is the end of the third quarter.
Aaron James, the head coach for Tuskegee, only lost to Fort Valley State once as a player, but Fort Valley State has won the last 2 meetings in this rivalry. Big fourth quarter on the horizon in the 3rd annual Boeing Red Tails Classic. Defensive effort right now for Tuskegee, Charles. They are really stepping up.
Michael King Jr. with the breakup there. And then nice opportunity to drive on the ball. He should have had the pick before. But the Tuskegee, Alabama, Booker T. Washington native comes away with a nice pick to stop the drive of Fort Valley State.
And it was on back-to-back plays where he probably could have had the interception. Then literally the next play, he does get his pick that he wanted. There's his head coach, Aaron James, who's now watching the offense go to work. Bryson Williams on a designed carry. Dragged down there by Adion Farmer.
We've seen Adion Farmer with the sack and just some disruptive plays from that defensive end. Again, I'll say this, Tim Alderman, injured during camp, will come back this season, but he is a key component to this defense as well. One of the defensive ends in that 8-9 man rotation that they like to play with Fort Valley State. Kentrell Lawson has been a little bit quiet. He's the captain and the playmaker, number 3 for this defense as well.
Lefty steps up and is bottled up.
They came with that A-dog pressure. Center has to decide on who to block. They pick up Kentrell Lawson, but they're not able to pick up everyone.
Marquise Hood got there initially. Let's see the replay.
Yeah, you see that gap between the center. Center has to make a decision, and then you can see guys rallying to the football. Marcus Harris said, I'll be the cleanup man. I'll make sure I get this sack.
Not a bad job. Duane Bell back to return. He's already taken a kickoff back for a touchdown today, but he's going to have to call a fair catch here. Early stages, fourth quarter. It was a back and forth third, just a 2-possession game. Can Fort Valley State trim it to a 1-possession game? We'll find out. 13-point game, fourth quarter, here in Montgomery, Alabama, at the historic Cramson Bowl. Opened in 1922, and now hosting this Boeing Red Tails Classic, 3rd straight year on ESPNU. So cool to have it on the network. Kelvin Durham and the Fort Valley State offense back at it. They go back to the ground game, tiptoeing his way, trying to showcase the balletic balance as Brandon Marshall did step out, but looked like he picked up enough for a first down. Gain of 15.
I love the fact that they get the ball out to him in space, good blocking. He's able to really look at the receivers doing their job, not holding, and then he's able to get outside, almost that old school toss sweep that you used to see back in the day. And Brandon Marshall finishes the run strong.
They call him an energy ball, excited to practice each day, just loves the game. Rare East Coast native on the roster, but played his high school football in Jacksonville, Florida.
Another bad snap, but Kelvin Durham able to make some things happen. That's going to be one thing they need to clean up.
Looking that time for Zatarius Anderson. He's a bit slow to get up on the sideline. We talked about it each day at practice. They've been working on the QB center exchanges with a new center here.
It doesn't translate until you actually get into game situation. There, the snap is low, and Kelvin Durham was trying to find Anderson, and Anderson may have done something to his hand at the tail end of that.
Marshall is the back. They shovel it to him again with some blocks set up. Now he'll reverse field. Got another block. Good job, though, from the Tuskegee defense to continue to pursue. They never gave up there. Octavius Gay on the tackle.
Yeah, he came over and laid a wallop, and he may have hurt himself.
It was a hard collision that we could hear from all the way up here.
Well, Marshall stops and he's coming full speed at Marshall, and you could hear it way up here.
He's been running hard today, and that was a hard collision and hit. Came from the other side of the field.
Yeah.
Timeout.
I hope Octavius is okay. We'll check on him when we return.
They had the courage to stand up for change, paving the way.
Rematch from a really good game a season ago. Next Saturday night, number 11 Texas faces Nick Saban and number 4 Alabama. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the app, while Pat McAfee and his crew highlight our ESPN2 telecast. The College Game Day crew begins today at 9 a.m. Eastern. Full day from Tuscaloosa. It's gonna be fun. Kelvin Durham is hoping this fourth quarter is fun for his offense. This is the deepest shot of the day, and it was somehow hauled in. Corinthians Edmonds.
He has a cannon. That was unbelievable. And his security blankets are worn, and Edmonds, but this was outstanding strike by Kelvin Durham. Once again, you're right back in the game if you can score here.
51 yards, now they're knocking on the door. Kentrell Williams able to find the end zone for the second time today. This could be a 6-point game after the extra point.
Look, Kelvin Durham, whatever was ailing him, he looks like he's healthy now. But after that last interception and the defense holding, he is able to come back and make a play.
How about the responses from both sides?
Goodness. It's just been all night. The minute you think one team is out of it, another one makes a play. Those kickoff returns back to back. Wow.
Extra point is good. It is a 6-point game. What a game it's been. On paper, we knew we had a good one, and it has really played out. Here's the 51-yard catch.
Good protection, and then he just fires the ball to where his guy can go get it. And Edmonds goes and makes a heck of a play. And he's able to beat Jeffrey Carter on that one, and then all you do is come back and finish with Kentrell Williams. This is why he was the preseason conference player of the year, potentially. And these are the kind of games you have to have. This Tuskegee team is not going away, and this Fort Valley State team, you better not go anywhere, because every time you leave or you think it's over, it's a score.
Or there's a kick return touchdown and another kick return touchdown. But gosh, the resilience from these two teams today. It was not a good start for Tuskegee. They went down 7-0, then grabbed the momentum back. Kelvin Durham gets injured. Tuskegee rattles off 17 points in a row. And the second half has been back and forth. Dewan McGee and Kerryon Taylor are back to return here for Tuskegee. Dewan McGee
Well, and you have guys that can all do damage. And so whoever you kick it to, you're just trying to figure out, okay, I got to go down and make a play.
The tackle made by number 23, Kamari Wakamusi.
This game has gone back and forth. Now let's see what Bryson Williams can do. He and Antonio Meeks have hooked up, been kind of quiet there lately. But this offense now has to get something going here again.
Oh, nearly a mishandled snap. And Tuskegee's lucky they didn't give it up. Bryson Williams able to just fall down.
How many times have we seen that tonight?
First game.
I need a turnover.
It's because Jalen Franks has to go to his left. And you can see when you're a center and you're snapping, his first step, you got to make sure you ensure that the snap gets to the quarterback. And that's just him trying to get to his responsibility because he knows he's got that guy that knows, that's cock nose, that's coming in and trying to get to his quarterback.
Numbers have been fairly even on both sides. This is the 46th play of the game for Tuskegee. Able to dump it off. And they have a first down gain. They're going to mark him just ahead of the yard to gain as DeAndre Harvey made the catch.
Jason, watch what Bryson Williams does to get away and make the two defenders run into each other. This is outstanding. Look, he knows it's coming. Boom. That last second, he gets out of almost like Houdini-esque and still gets the ball down the field. That was a huge play by Bryson Williams.
The improvisation from both QBs today has been just phenomenal to watch.
He didn't panic. He waited to the last second, and those two guys collided.
That was one thing that Aaron James told us about Bryson Williams. He was not afraid of nerves or anything like that because he's a returning starter for this offense. Pulls it, goes to the air. That is batted down.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Second down.
Defensive linemen always know it's a block party if you can't get to the quarterback. Get the hands up.
Next best thing.
Wave the hands in the air. Block the ball like you just don't care. Oh, this is nice. And then everybody. Everybody scream. They're all on the ball. I mean, that's the thing you teach. No matter who you are, you go to the ball and you see it, you put those hands up.
It was Cameron Johnson waving his hands in the air like he just didn't care. And now more plays being made by this Fort Valley defense. They were really excited about the defensive line today. Able to make the play there was Alfonso Harris.
Starting to see different guys show up now on a defensive front. 7 that's really got to play well.
And the Fort Valley sideline is pumping up their crowd that had gone quiet through the heart of the game after Tuskegee grabbed momentum. But they are back in it now. Dylan Stokes, a bit slow to get up, tried to fight through it, but now in some more pain.
It's one of those he thought he could shake it off.
Yep. You can feel how badly both teams want this game.
It's been a physical ball game, and your first one like this against a team you know that's going to bring it, and you basically become rivals through this. Kind of hit by his own guy. Alfonso Harris falls on him, and then he tries to get up. It's a little bit nicked up.
Big 3rd and 8 here. Maybe another Houdini act from Williams. Can he pull some more magic out? Had to slide up short of the yard to gain. Alfonso Harris again in the mix with some words to exchange there at the end of the play with Bryson Williams, who came up well short by about 3 full yards.
Really good job by the defense because initially it looked like he was going to have a chance to pick up this first down. Nobody there. They wanted to throw the screen. Good defense there. But watch this. He thinks he has some opening, and how the defense converges. There's 4 or 5 guys, and at first it looked like open field. Really nice pursuit by the Fort Valley State defense.
Dewan Bell is back to return the kick. He's already returned one for a touchdown today. Kelvin Durham is itching to get back out there. That was nearly blocked as well. Oh, and Durham had it slip out of his hands, which has been something that has been ooh, if you're a Fort Valley State fan right now, some deja vu, because that happened earlier in the game, but they didn't recover it. This time they do, and the offense is set to come back out. Boeing Red Tails Classic, second half. Charles, has been memorable.
Oh, man, it has, where you have return by Dewan Bell. Dewan McGee, and then Dewan Bell comes back with the convoy to get in for 6. And then Kelvin Durham with the strike to Edmonds. And then they punch it in for 6. That has made this game close. And now Fort Valley State has the ball again. You can see all the things that happened in the second half. It's been exciting.
Back-to-back kickoff returns for touchdowns in the third quarter. Fort Valley State outscoring Tuskegee 17-13 in this half. And now Kelvin Durham, who has twice been injured in a heroic-like effort. The preseason conference player of the year in the SIAC, showcasing the grit and the intangibles to get back into this game. And he's done more than just get back into it. He's gotten his offense back into it. They've got 154 yards in this second half after the passing game really slowed down when he was out.
Yeah. Well, they talk about managing and getting, facilitating, but he has made some huge plays as well.
He's rolling this time. Wanted Zatarius Anderson to rule this a complete catch.
Zatarius has to come out after his helmet goes off. But he's able to get in that little area. He knows he has a man, and he just lets Durham throw him over there. Helmet comes off, so he has to come off for one play.
Now 3rd and 3. Fort Valley State is 5 for 11 on 3rd down today. Durham under duress. Made the smart decision to not throw that away. The sack from the Tuskegee defense. Javion Miller in on the play. Malik Moore, Vincent Hill.
Really nice job by this defense. Offensive line is beat to the punch, and there's some pressure right away, and it forces Durham to not have anywhere to go, and then it's a convergence of about 5 guys before he could even get out of there.
Javion Miller is the one who led the way.
Another freshman that's stepping up for this ball club. Another defense that wasn't unknown to us and even their coaching staff. They have stepped up and made some plays tonight.
It's a defense that struggled a season ago as well for Tuskegee. Meanwhile, Carryon Taylor has the edge, and he'll take a big hit along the sideline. Tuskegee wants a late hit here.
They're going to get a flag. I think a flag just came out late.
Flag came out late on what appears to be a late hit.
I think that's...
It's a return of 16.
That's a receiver. Is it Terry? Is it Anderson? Oh. Solomon Riggins. Excuse me. One of the double numbers. Very built similarly to Anderson. But you expect a defensive guy to come over and make a play like that, but just a little too late.
Personal foul, late hit, ticket team, 15-yard penalty, man, to end of the run. First down, Tuskegee.
So the self-inflicted errors creep back in again with 6:13 to go on this dwindling fourth quarter clock. Not a spot to do that.
Yeah, he was way out of bounds, and he was being held. And that's it. You could really get injured there.
Yeah, in a one-possession game too right now.
You're giving free yards to an offense that has really started to hit its stride as well. You know who's been quiet? Antonio Meeks. Interested to see if they will look to go to him at this point in the game.
He had 140 receiving yards in the opening half. But you're right, haven't really found him yet in the second half. To the ground here with Zena Mulva.
And they've really started to play a little bit differently. I don't see Austin on him like he was in the first half. Lataj Wright has been the guy that's been kind of following him, and it almost looks like they have safety help over the top to just say, look, we're not going to let you beat us with this guy.
One catch for Meeks in the second half for 9 yards at 140 on several big plays in the first half. He's at the bottom of your screen, number 15.
Now, Corey Petty is open. He's got Landon Austin on the other side. I'm interested to see if Bryson Williams will pick on that side.
It's top of your screen, goes the opposite way. And Williams lost the football. This is recovered by Fort Valley State. Turnovers continue to play a key role in this game. Jaden Walker recovers it, and the Wildcats are back in business.
Ruling on the field is a fumble and recovery by the defense. First down.
Will Riggins made the tackle that jarred the ball loose.
Nice job by Riggins to come in and knock that ball out. And then it was a conversion. You know, when you think you have the ball and Will Riggins is there to knock it out and Jaden Walker comes and cleans it up. You have to protect the football in those instances, and now you give it right back to a guy like Kelvin Durham. Let's see what he can do with it.
It's been teetering back and forth, and now all of a sudden Fort Valley State has momentum and life right back. Down one score, that ball batted down at the line. It's like a team has life, then they kind of give it back to the other team.
That's true. A real good opportunity there for a completion, but the defensive line does a really nice job of knocking that one down. You start to get a beat on where the quarterback's going, especially by how he's, you know, just the tendencies, and you can see this defensive line starting to figure out on both sides how to get those hands up.
Season opener for both teams. Fort Valley State has won the last two in this rivalry. Gonna dump it to the backfield. Eluding a tackle there is Brandon Marshall, who's up to the 50-yard line.
That throw was designed to get him out in space. Sometimes you see it go behind or where he has to slow down. Brandon Marshall did not have to slow down one step because Kelvin Durham dropped it in there. Watch how he gets the ball out to him and throw guys open in space. A little bit low, but it was enough for him to catch it and go.
You wonder about fatigue right now defensively for Tuskegee as Marshall continues to pound his way ahead. After a gain of 23, he picks up a gain of 9.
And this is where you like having an experienced guy who transferred from Mercer and who they said has been a key component when you lose a guy like Wilson, who was such an effective back now at the NFL level.
Deja vu for the Tuskegee fans who watched Emmanuel Wilson run for 265 in this game a season ago. They plug in the transfer Marshall, who's been such a leader. A grad transfer, already has his degree. This time they switch it up and go to Kentrell Williams.
Fresh legs. When you rotate those backs in, they talked about it. By the end of the game, we want to have guys that are fresh. Just like that D-line is rotating in, we have 2 or 3 backs who can come in and make plays. Hadn't seen Tristan Morgan much back there, but those two, Kentrell Williams and Brandon Marshall, have done a really nice job running the football.
All 3 timeouts for both teams. Remember, it's a 6-point game, so Fort Valley State gets the touchdown and the extra point. They go up 1 with under 4 to play and the clock winding down. Fort Valley State is a bit more methodical than Tuskegee, too.
You've got a combined 113 yards between those 2 ball carriers, and that's made the difference. They have rushed at a better proficiency than Tuskegee has, and this is what you needed. You talk about 4-minute offense. You need guys that can run the football, but your offensive line has to protect, and let's make sure center quarterback exchange has to be clean.
This possession was birthed by a fumble from Tuskegee. Turnovers have swung the momentum consistently in this game. Durham.
Protect the football, quarterback.
Yep.
You cannot get careless with the football.
Stanley Livingston on the back end there. Durham has thrown an interception in this half from a late decision. Here's a decision he had to make here.
And not only that, but carrying the ball loosely here, and you got pursuit by Livingstone, who almost knocks that ball out. Have to protect it. Great pursuit by Stanley Livingstone. Another guy that has really helped this defensive backfield tonight. With Antonio Kennan out, here's a guy that had 46 tackles last year, 1 interception. He was out tonight.
Maybe the biggest third down of the game so far. Durham looking to the 5-yard line. That's intercepted. Second interception he's thrown today. Picked off by Christian Ramsey, who's taken it back the opposite direction, up near the 50. Turnover after turnover from both teams, and ultimately this game could possibly come down to that pick.
Ball hung up way too high, and all you have to do as a safety is play center field. You cannot have those mistakes when you have an opportunity, and I know Kelvin Durham wants that back again.
Ramsey with the interception, one of the younger players starting today.
He and Michael King Jr. have come up with some key stops of this Fort Valley State team. Wasn't sure if Kelvin Durham got hit, but man, that ball came out and hung.
Timeout.
A Tuskegee fan base that wants this win. They've lost the last 2 in the Boeing Red Tails Classic. Maybe Christian Ramsey closed it out for him. We'll find out when we come back. Still time left.
The Boeing Red Tails Classic is brought to you by Boeing, celebrating the trailblazing spirit of the Tuskegee Airmen.
Drayton Florence there, the 2023 SIAC Hall of Fame inductee. Played at Tuskegee in the early 2000s. Talked about Aaron James, who also played at Tuskegee, the head coach in the late 90s, early 2000s, went 42-5 as the starter. He's now in his first year as the Tuskegee head coach. And boy, would this feel good for him if in his first Boeing Red Tails Classic as the head coach, he's able to finish out this win. And his players, we love so much, have gotten the job done in different ways, have faced adversity. But these are the big moments right now, trying to finish it off. And we're still far away from this thing being finished up, based on what we've seen.
Face man, defense, 15-yard penalty, first down, Tuskegee.
Those things right there give you the opportunity to finish. I also had a chance today to go to the Legacy Museum and also the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, and just blown away by walking through that museum and memorial. All the civil rights things here, but the Red Tails Classic, I'm glad I got an opportunity to call this game and be here.
It's been an amazing experience. It really has. The history of Montgomery, the history of these two programs, the history of the Crampton Bowl, we're calling this game from right now. It's built up to what's been a very fun, still time to finish left in this game that has gone back and forth in an incredibly entertaining second half.
It's not over till it's over.
Still 2 minutes. But a pretty methodical offense is pretty fast-paced offense, I should say, is winding down the clock and playing a methodical style right now. 3 timeouts left for Fort Valley State. Don't forget Monday night. There's still football for you on Monday night. The only matchup on the Labor Day schedule, an all ACC affair between number 9 Clemson and Duke in Durham. That's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN and the app. Coverage beginning at 7 Eastern time with college football countdown.
Timeout, Fort Valley.
A lot of
it's
people,
their first timeout of the second half. It's been a 30-second timeout.
A lot of people know about Clemson, but Duke with Riley Leonard, that quarterback is going to be a factor. And I'd say I'm really looking forward to just watching that game to see how both of these teams compete the first game of the season.
Well, their fellow ACC team, Florida State, is in a big battle right now with LSU over on ABC.
in the Charlotte area. Will Shipley is from Weddington High School. I know his family well. I know him, and I know he's ready for a big season along with Cade Public. The defense, offensively, Clemson has to play better than they did last year, but people were down on them, and you win 10 games. So I think it's because they were so enamored with them playing for national championships, and you got a team like Duke and Mike Elko, they won 9 games last year. I think this is a good barometer for both teams to start off with.
It's a great point. It's also the opening weekend for Tuskegee and Fort Valley State, the NCAA D2 level. These teams trying to get off to 1-0 starts. Tuskegee made it to the SIAC Conference Championship a season ago. They have goals they've been saying it around the facility every day. We want to get back there and win it this time. Starts today. Here's a pitch and the ball is out again. They nearly had a disaster in the form of back-to-back possessions with a fumble on the last possession. They fumbled, gave it to Fort Valley State. Timeout called here by Fort Valley State. This is why we said the game isn't over yet. It's been a theme in this quarter. Near disaster here.
Timeout.
And he didn't look the ball all the way in. He took his eye off of it at the last time. Zena Mulba.
Who's the freshman.
Yeah, and that's one of those things. He's going to know, I got to secure the catch. And then he's going to a side where he has no help. And I think maybe coach is telling him that. You have nobody out there. It's just you in the back. So even if he catches it clean, it's not an opportunity. And those are the kind of things you work on in the first game.
If you're a Tuskegee fan right now, the next 101 seconds are going to be the slowest 101 seconds of your life. After the trend of this second half has continued here on this possession.
Well, what you want to do here is you want to try to make the first down, but it's a 3rd and long. You don't want to put it in harm's way. And then you just got to use as much clock and know that you got a guy on the other side that's got the ability. He didn't have a great throw the last time, but we've seen him tonight make some big plays.
Fort Valley State with the 1 timeout, 3rd and 11 here. Biggest 3rd down for the Fort Valley State defense today. They opt to run it. They went back to Mulba, showing trust in their freshman back. On 3rd and 11.
Timeout.
And there's
Fort Valley.
The timeout for Fort Valley State.
The final timeout of the game. This has been a 30-second timeout.
Got a couple of guys down. And I'm not really shocked that they ran the football, because if you throw it and you don't use any clock.
Yep. Fort Valley State wouldn't have needed to use that timeout.
Yeah.
Multiple Fort Valley State players down here after that play.
Now the new rule in college, while we're, hopefully both of these guys are okay, is that within the 2 minutes of the end of the half or the end of the game, the clock will stop if you get first down. So no timeouts. It reverts back to the college rule, which has changed from last year, where you would automatically get the clock to stop every first down to move the chains.
We've talked about legends in the game associated with HBCUs, and this game, of course, honors the Tuskegee Airmen. It's really been a neat event building up on both sides. So what's going to be a fun finish here in the Boeing Red Tails Classic 3rd annual. DeJuan Bell is back to return. This is going to take a roll that goes into the end zone. Wow, that was close to Tuskegee's punt coverage, saving that prior to the goal line. But instead, it'll leave 124 for Kelvin Durham to come out, take another peek at how close it was.
That ball took a wicked bounce both times. And you have Michael King Jr. almost able to keep it in play.
So now Durham, the preseason conference offensive player of the year, who has had a heroic day coming back from being injured multiple times, culminates very fittingly in an opportunity to potentially piece together a game-winning drive with 84 seconds to go and no timeouts. We asked him about pressure. He said there isn't really a pressure to balance. The goal is to win and make sure everyone is doing their job. He's going to be the conductor here with a minute 24 to go. Has time. Wants Za'Tarius Anderson and finds him. Anderson cuts it back inside the 25. Now reversing field inside the 20. Anderson down the sideline inside of the 5. Gain of 76 on first down.
Big play receiver and a big throw, big arm from the quarterback. This is just, you cannot get beat behind if you're the defensive back. You cannot get beat deep. And Za'Tarius Anderson goes by Christian Ramsey and almost turns him around and scores on that play. Wow.
Play clock operator, please reset the game clock to 57 seconds. 5-7.
As a safety, you have to go deeper than the deepest man. And then after that, you got to make a play. And this is just an outstanding play by Za'Tarius Anderson. New guy needs to get him up to speed, but he is 6'3", a big receiver and a guy that they like to use, and they are able to get him in position.
Brings up 1st and goal for Fort Valley State.
Jason, you said it. The game was far from over.
There was still a long minute 41 left, and we said that. Now 57 seconds left. Za'Tarius Anderson, the transfer from West Georgia, talked about the transfers for this offense, and he comes up big in the biggest of moments for his QB, Kelvin Durham. Kelvin Durham's family at the game today talked about having 5 younger siblings, younger sister, 4 brothers, and how that has carried over into leadership on the football field. Tosses it out here, a hit promptly made. They're going to say that was incomplete.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
Was looking for DeJuan Bell. Rossi Grimes came over to make the big hit.
Well, and he did a nice job of just saying, okay, I know this blocker is going to try to take me on, but I don't care. I'm going straight after the receiver. And this was a good heads-up play by the defensive back, Grimes. And that was a huge play and a stop.
And if you're this Tuskegee defense, right now, 2 timeouts, 52 seconds left. Fort Valley still needs 6 points to tie this and the extra point to take the lead. They hand it off here to Brandon Marshall, who's dragged down, and that's going to bring up 3rd and goal.
And you have no timeouts. That's the other thing.
Clock is winding down at 35 seconds. Javion Marshall made that tackle. Half a minute to go now.
Touchdown or bust, because you have no chance to get a first down. What can Tuskegee do on defense to stop this Fort Valley State offense?
Durham still has it, but he's pushed out of bounds at the 5. They may have lost about a yard on 3rd and goal. Christian Ramsey, who had the interception before, came over to make the play. That brings up a do-or-die 4th and goal.
And he was beat on the play to Za'Tarius Anderson. I thought it was going to be an option to throw the football, but look at all the defenders. They rally up and get him out of bounds. And they cover on the back end. Now, if you're Tuskegee, one last chance, you know that Fort Valley State has to get it into the end zone.
Biggest play of this thrilling Boeing Red Tails Classic. 4th and goal. Do or die here for Fort Valley State and Kelvin Durham.
3 by 1. You got 3 receivers on one side, tight end back here. Let's see what they do with this one.
Durham To the back of the end zone for Anderson. Didn't make the catch. The Tuskegee defense stands tall. There is a flag down with 7 seconds to go in the fourth. And we'll see what it's for as we wait with bated breath for this next moment.
In that area, usually it's a pick or a rub or a hold by the defense. When you have those 3 receivers to one side, that's usually the case. They're trying to have a rub route, or defenders call it picks.
Everyone's waiting for Ben Cole, our referee.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 19.
Wow.
This is to the goal. First down.
Rossi Grimes is the guilty party. Yeah, he pulls the face mask of DeJuan Bell. And that gives at least one more play. Maybe 2, but I think only 1 with the way this game is played out.
New life for Kelvin Durham and Fort Valley State to grab onto. But just 7 seconds left. Durham to the end zone again, wanted Henton off his fingertips with 3 seconds left. And they'll get one more chance.
They threw
Henton is hurt.
Yeah, he went down. They threw it quick enough to get another play. Clock stops. Hinton is a guy that they tried to target. Looks like he just goes down awkwardly. Hopefully not too serious, but he goes down on one leg and just that was the matchup that they were looking for. Bigger receiver, tight end at 6'5", 240. A gentleman that had a really strong camp. I hope he's okay.
He came over from Jackson State in his debut for Fort Valley. Meanwhile, 3 seconds left.
Excuse me. He had really been effective blocking today, too. I just watched some of the things he was doing earlier in the game.
Game comes down to this. They hand it off to Williams, and the Tuskegee defense is able to close it out with the goal line stand. And they take the Boeing Red Tails Classic on the final play of the game.
I would think they want that back. They score. Everybody's happy, but man, you couldn't ask for a crazier end to the game.
Sean Gibbs and Aaron James, 2 good friends, embrace after a Boeing Red Tails Classic for the ages.
Wouldn't it be something if these guys get back into the SIAC championship and play against each other?
That'd be pretty incredible. That'd be pretty incredible. Well, what a night. Aaron James, the head coach for Tuskegee, in his first as the head coach, is able to get the Golden Tigers back on track in this rivalry. They had lost the last 2.
They had a streak of them before those last 2 losses, but Aaron James and his crew talked about it. We have to get this thing back rolling.
At the end of the day, for the offensive guy, Aaron James, it's his defense that comes up in the biggest of moments. A defensive stand to close out this thrilling game.
You give it to your running back who has played pretty well, and here's the last play. Good block. First initial play, you can see this goal line stands. Good tackle there. Kelvin Durham is going to come outside, and he's going to be met by 3 defenders. And then lastly, you try to get it up to Hinton, and he's injured on that play. And then the very last play, Kentrell Williams, who had run the ball effectively, looks like the blocking was there, but that defense converges and stops them at the 1-yard line.
What a stand from Tuskegee. Their fans loving it. They're going to be presented the trophy as well. Get off to a 1-0 start on the season. And champs of the Boeing Red Tails Classic here in Montgomery. A final 2 minutes that seemingly had no ending.
Yeah, it just kept going.
And it was just incredible because you think about it, and new life given to Fort Valley at the end there with the penalty. Tuskegee has to stand tall again, which wasn't something they did often a season ago, but to close it out in that fashion, just amazing.
Yeah, it was one of those situations where you knew they had an opportunity to finish it, and Tuskegee closed the door on it.
Really was fitting. For Aaron James, the coach for Tuskegee, who just won his first Boeing Red Tails Classic, is now with us. Coach, first off, congratulations on the win. It was an incredible back and forth game. Your fan base here, your first Boeing Red Tails Classic, what does it mean to you?
It means a lot. My hat's off to Fort Valley and their team. What a well-coached program. Coach Gibbs is a good friend of mine, and my hat's off to him for the rest of the season. But our fan base, like you said, man, is amazing. They packed the house, as you can see, and we got a good following.
Well, Coach, when you look at this, usually you talk about your offense, but your defense down at the end, after giving up a huge play, they do a nice job of stopping them. What was the thought into that last goal line stance?
It was being but no, don't break. I mean, our DB been preaching that all camp. And like you say, offense, I harp on offense a lot, but offense scores points and defense win ball games in the championship. So they showed their tails tonight. And like I say, bend and didn't break, and it was a nail biter. So we came out with the victory, and I'm very excited for this program and my coaches and the fan base and, this team. So I'm very excited about it to get my first win.
What did you learn about the resilience of your team today? We just can't get over really the resilience from both teams today. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was back and forth. Like I said, we kept our foot on the gas, and we sputtered sometimes when we was trying to run the clock out with the ball. But it was the defense, man, they stepped up big time. And we needed them when we needed them at the end of the game. So, hey, I'm very excited for this program.
Thanks, Coach. You deserve to go celebrate after this one.
Oh, yes.
We appreciate it. Aaron James, head coach of Tuskegee, winning the Boeing Red Tails Classic today. Now his team being presented with the trophy there. Third annual. They had lost the last two and able to win it today on the final play of the game.
What did Coach tell us? I only lost to Fort Valley State one time as a player. I think he wanted to do that again as a coach and really got off to the right start.
See the game summary here, wrapping things up in Montgomery. The second half was one for the ages. And again, Charles said if they end up meeting again in the conference championship, that's what we're hoping for, to maybe rewrite a new script. But this is going to be a fun one to look back on after Tuskegee. Ultimately, it's the defense that comes up big and is able to close out a 6-point victory from the Crampton Bowl here in Montgomery. It was a pleasure to have you with us today. Charles, that was a good one, my friend.
Man, I hope if they do have a championship game, they'll call us back to call it.
I hope so. Well, thanks for joining us tonight for our awesome ESPNU crew. Charles Arbuckle, I'm Jason Ross Jr. saying so long. Your college football weekend isn't over yet, but this was a good part of it.